Hey guys, welcome back inside of the Plastic Planet. I am your host, Knick-Knack, hanging out with you guys tonight. We are going live tonight. It is Knick-Knack Live. It is happy hour up here in the Plastic Planet, and I am joined by my two amigos. We are the three amigos, so to speak, from the Mile High City, Denver, Colorado. I am joined by my two best buddies in the world. We got Uncle Pat. What's up, Uncle Pat?
What's happening, Knick-Knack?
Not much, man. Not much. And we are joined by Harry Jabba, a.k.a. Trav. What's up, Trav?
Hello, everyone.
So anyway, yeah, it's just good to be with you guys. We're gonna kind of just hang a little bit here, wait for people to kind of line up into the chat. Hola, everybody. I just wanted to say, Robert, just a fan, commented earlier today, said these times are rough when you got to get up at 3, because yeah, we do go a little later, as you guys know, because we're in the Mountain Time Zone. Like I said, we're in Denver, Colorado, so it is a little later for our East Coast compadres, and we love having you guys here. And Down Under Daniel is waiting as well. And we have, guys, we have a YouTube celebrity here in the chat tonight. A big Plastic Planet welcome and hello to my friend. I am proud to call this guy my friend. That is Kevin, the Tattooed Toy Hunter. He is with us here, at least for a little while here. What's up, Kevin? Kevin is a freaking stud. I was telling Trav here before we came on that Kevin just recently, he is an EMT. I'm sure he doesn't mind me telling this to everybody. He is an EMT down in Texas, and he recently went out, volunteered on his own accord, and went out and served 2 weeks out in New York during the COVID crisis. So, big Plastic Planet salute to Kevin. You're a stud, my friend.
Thank you,
Paul
Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin. And Paul is in the house. Paul, what is up, brother? Wisconsin Packer Paul is in the house. And Down Under Daniel is here as well. Good day to y'all. Good day to you, Daniel. I know it's about 3 o'clock down there in Australia. And definitely, I love having the international connection going here on the Plastic Planet Live. That's so awesome. And Daniel and I had a great chat last night. We were chatting on Facebook, and it was just awesome to chat with you, Daniel. Once again, I can't tell you how much I really appreciated your really, really kind words. So anyway, guys, it is Thursday night, but really Thursday is the new Friday, I think, if I don't mind saying so myself. Thursday is the new Friday. Really all the days kind of blend together these days, to be honest. But Thursday is the new Friday, and so I am drinking tonight. I am drinking my Miller Lite. So I got a 16-ounce can, but I also have a very large. I think this is a 40. Is this a 40, Uncle Pat? Big Bud Light.
Looks like it.
So I'm going to be drinking this here as well. So hopefully I won't get too beer buzzed over the course of the show.
2 ounce.
Yeah, Uncle Pat. Yeah, let's go to Uncle Pat. He always has something. No, let's go to Trav first, because Uncle Pat usually has the real weird shit. Let's go to Trav. Trav, what are you drinking tonight?
Nothing but nature's finest of a little Perrier sparkling water. Going light tonight, at least as of now.
That's okay.
It was a hell of a week at work and in life, and so let's just say I had my mojitos last night, man.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's all good, man. Okay, Uncle Pat, I know you're not going to disappoint. What are you drinking, sir?
All right, so I'm warming it up with a little Jameson's Castmates Stout Edition to get the whistle. And then for my beer, I'm starting out, I'm going to switch it up a little bit as the night goes on here, but for those that most people won't even know this stuff because it's like local beer, right? So it's from the Great Divide Brewing Company, Colette Farmhouse Ale.
Very nice.
Tasty.
Very nice.
So
very nice. Well, cool. Well, just wanted to give a big shout out here to Kevin one more time. He says thank you. It was an honor. If you guys are not subscribers to the Tattooed Toy Hunter, do that. Go not now. Don't leave now. But after the stream, go subscribe to his channel, because he has some awesome toy hunts. I love this guy's toy tastes, because they're very eclectic. Like, he's got all kinds of weird shit. Like, you look at his collection, he's been putting up new shelves in his garage for action figures, which is really freaking cool, because he's got so much shit, he's got to put it in the garage. So I've been watching his shit. And, dude, he's got like Pee Wee Herman figures and like all kinds of cool shit. Like, he showed off like 2 videos ago. He has a really cool 90210. God, I'm having a brain moment, guys. The gentleman that just passed away from Luke Perry. He had a Luke Perry action figure, and it was really freaking cool. So anyway,
don't you? What? Everybody has a Luke Perry
but
action
it's
figure.
very cool. I have to say, it was very cool. I'm not throwing shade at it. It was very cool. No, and he also collects like standard stuff, like like the Star Wars and Marvel superheroes, all kinds of stuff. But his collection is so eclectic and so cool. He's also got a really killer Smurfs collection as well. So yeah, check out.
Do you still?
I had a Smurfs. I missed my Smurfs collection. I had one as a kid, and it was dynamite.
Yeah, no, he's got the little houses and everything. I'm serious. It's cool.
Sweet.
And a little fence around it. His collection is really cool, really eclectic, and he does these awesome toy hunts. He doesn't just hit the Targets and hit the Walmarts. He doesn't just do that. He goes to all these really cool swap meets and all these out of the way comic book stores throughout southern Texas, I believe. So anyway, awesome channel. So yeah, do subscribe to Kevin, the Tattooed Toy Hunter. Yeah, he says, LOL, 2 toy rooms now. So Kevin, you have joined the ranks of the Plastic Planet, because yes, I have 2 toy rooms as well. So yeah, General Grievous 2005 is in the house. What's up, GG? How you doing, brother? And Maverick 1701 Alpha. That's one of my favorite handles of all time, because that's so cool. Because little Star Trek love there. He says every day feels like Friday anymore, and indeed it does. So anyway, all right, guys. So let's move on. I think we've got about 12 people watching now, and I think that's great. So we can just move into the show without further ado, and let's go to new pickups. And Trav, we talked off camera. I don't think you have anything this week, so I'm not going to go to you, but we're going to go to Uncle Pat, because Uncle Pat's got speaking of some really cool stuff that I think would be right up Kevin, the Tattoo Toy Hunter's alley. You got some pickups this week.
I think it's some pickups this week. First, I will announce that I got in the mail finally, after I think I ordered them in March. Finally got my 3D Tolfs.
You got your 3D Tolfs?
I got my D-Tolfs
from
today,
IKEA.
and yes, so they had to ship. I had to ship them because you can't pick them up at the store anymore. But they're gonna go right over here, and my little room here, which I'm naming Satellite 15, which is a metal reference, plus it's a satellite of the Plastic Planet.
Nice.
Gonna get this built out a little bit more, and once I get that done, then we'll be able to do a room tour for the Plastic Planet.
Yes, and people have been waiting on that room tour, Uncle Pat. By the way.
Yes. Well, I need it. Like I said, I've made a lot of changes down here. I've got a lot of things in motion, and I think it'll be worth it. It's a tiny room, but hopefully you guys will dig it once I get the opportunity.
I think we'll dig it like sugar smacks. Dig it.
Satellite 15 is a great name, man.
I love Satellite 15.
Yeah. Do you know the reference? Does anybody in the chat know the reference? I'm guessing probably not. Daniel might, if he's a Maiden fan. I'll give you a hint. No? So it's a song off of Final Frontier. It's the first song off the Final Frontier album.
That's right.
Yeah.
We went to that concert, man. We went on that tour.
Did.
Final Frontier,
right?
Yeah.
Frontier.
Well, I got my Maiden love on tonight, so
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's start out with one that I actually got this a little while ago, but only because we're talking Maiden. You know how much of a Maiden. I am a #1 Maiden fan. I got this. It's one of the Super 7 figures. I'll just zoom him in. Let's see if I can keep him.
Looks pretty good. Oh, it's Eddie.
It's Eddie from
the Trooper, right?
Not from the Trooper, but from Aces High.
Yes, Aces High.
When he's in the play. Yeah,
yes,
he's in the play, not the single.
Cool.
Yeah. So got my Eddie figure. And then I got on a little eBay kick. I just needed a little happiness to come in the mail. So I got 3 new figures for my vintage Masters of the Universe collection. Starting off with the Master of Vision, Triclops.
Oh, that is sweet. Yes.
He even comes complete with a dog chewed on his arm a little bit, but
well, it's got a little love.
That's all right.
He cost me $10.
Well,
right?
the $10. I imagine the dog damage was part of that.
You know what? And I'll say this: you couldn't see it really on the bid, but I think I get these figures, and I always like them to be mint, of course. But you get these little things that are a little scuffed. They have the name, like the initials on the bottom of the foot.
Right.
It's endearing to me. It's kind of like some kid. This was some kid's toy, right? And they played the hell out of it.
Yeah.
And so it's just like it's been loved, and I like that idea.
So you like
Dude,
inheriting?
you just got in a battle with Battle Cat, man. That's all.
Right?
Basically, you like inheriting Andy's toys, is what you like. You like to give those.
It's a way, yeah.
You like to give those toys a nice retirement. They were loved.
Yes.
They had their boy. Their boy moved on, got
Yes.
laid, went to college, and now he's sold his collection. And now they're having
all the shit.
they're having a nice retirement in your collection, unlike being sold to a daycare center or something.
Right. They're in nice glass cases, that they can have parties in with my empty beer cans after I'm done on Plus My Life.
There you go.
And then we got Beast Man.
Oh, that's sweet.
Complete with his whip. And this guy, Beastman, I don't know if you can see it on the picture. A little bit. You can see how good that nose is. Beastman is notorious for, because of the white paint there and the way kids play with them,
Don't touch it.
So
don't touch it. Your oil will rub it off.
No. But no, I mean, that's like, you can't, finding them with a good, nice white face. So he cost me a little bit. He's like $45, I think. I'll buy it now. I had a better one that got sniped on eBay right before the end, but that's fine. Good addition, Beastman. Gotta have a Beastman.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
And then last but not least, we can see him at the bottom there. Knick-Knack with extending neck action.
That is awesome.
He's in really good shape. So yeah, those are my newest acquisitions. I'm really working on building out my Motu collection. Because as you guys know, this was one of my big loves when I was a kid. I
dude, when we were kids, we would play He-Man figures, man, because we both had them.
I know, dude. We had you had all the fucking shit, but
dude, Battle Cat was the bomb, man. I love Battle Cat, man.
I never had a Battle Cat, and that's the other thing. I think that's one of those things like we do, right? Collecting this stuff, like we get the things that we didn't get to have when we were kids because our parents wouldn't buy it for us, or it was too expensive. It's weird. And my parents were so, I don't want to say they were weird, but they would get me they'd get me these really cool things, right? Like the Death Star playset.
I didn't know you had that. Did you have the Death Star playset?
Yeah,
oh,
dude.
Shit.
Cool. I had, some of the big, really cool. I had, for the Masters of the Universe, I still have my Grayskull, my Castle Grayskull. But I had the Terror Zone.
Yeah.
If you remember, Terror Zone was the Hordak place, the evil Horde place, and they had the monster that came out and like raw, right? So it's like I had all these things, but then they begin like, I wanted a Dinobot. Like, oh, that's just too expensive. We can't get you a Dinobot. So, I think it was just like however they were feeling in the moment. Like, oh, let's get him something, or like, God, I don't want to spend any money on this shit.
Yeah. I had to pull strings to get my first Transformer. My first Transformer that I ever really actively lobbied to get was Grimlock, G1 Grimlock in 1986. And man, I worked my mom over for like 2 weeks to get that thing, and it was just awesome when I got him. So cool. Yeah. Let's go to the chat real fast, guys, because we've been neglecting a little bit. Let's see here. Let's go all the way up to not all the way up to the top. But
Daniel is right. Triclops, he has this cool slot you can put his sword in the sword. None of the other characters came with a place to put their damn weapons except him. He had a slot in his armor you could slide the sword into.
Yeah.
That's cool. I think
that's cool. I always loved was a Skeletor sword that you could put two of them together.
It was He-Man and Skeletor's sword, and they would.
Oh, that's right. That's it. Yeah.
You'd put them together, and then they were a key to unlock Castle Grayskull's drawbridge. You put them in the hole. Right. There was a lock, and you could unlock.
Yeah. Okay. That was cool.
Ginty 32 is in the house. What's up, Ginty? He said that like 12 minutes ago. Hopefully, he's still with us. Let's see here. Let's go down a little bit. Yes, Paul, I got a haircut today. I got a haircut. It was awesome. It was very sanitary, though. I will point out, I wore a mask the whole time. She had a mask on. The whole place was very sanitary. I came home, took a hot shower immediately afterwards. But yes, I did get a haircut because I couldn't stand it anymore. Before the whole lockdown, I got a bad haircut, like a bad one. And so it grew out wonky. I couldn't take it anymore. So yes, I got a haircut. Thank you for noticing. Maverick 1701A, can't wait for that room tour, Uncle Pat. General Grievous 2005 Transformer wise, I just picked up the Fans Toys Phoenix. Which one is that one, Uncle Pat? Do you know?
I don't know, honestly.
Okay. Well,
He also says got Grump, which a bag cube Grump, which I remember looking for the longest time. That's what started me on this whole. That figure started me on this whole ridiculous
rabbit hole. Yeah, of Transformer.
Yeah. And I never got the bag cube Grump, but I did pre-order the Fan Toys because Grump is Brawl.
Oh, okay.
Right.
That's a good.
But I got the Fan Toys Brawl, but
game for Brawl. Yeah.
Grump.
Yeah. Which one was the one that we were talking about? That which one of the one was like a Maverick? That was like a total like Top Gun ripoff.
So the Fans Toys, I think it was Fans Toys aerial bots are all named after the call signs.
Top Gun.
Oh, are they really?
Maverick, Goose, Iceman. Yeah, dude.
That's fucking cool. Yeah, Paul still wants to see your Transformer collection, so we were talking about that. It's coming. Tattooed Toy Hunter Kevin says, "Oh hell yeah, vintage MOTU." So he's excited, and he's excited about all your figures, Uncle Pat. So that's really nice. And yeah. So Ginty's still here, and General Grievous 2005 said Gears. So there we go. There we go. So anyway, okay. So my pickups this week. Now that we have into that little segue. So we in the last live stream, whoever was here watching the last live stream, Trav and I made a wager. It was like not a wager, but it was like a scoundrel's bargain. I buy this.
Double dog dare you.
Double dog dare you, right? So it was like sort of like, I'll buy this hot toy if you buy that hot toy. Basically, whatever you like, because stupidity loves company, as we all know, when we're like enabling each other to buy shit we don't need. So anyway, Trav pre-ordered the IG-11, which obviously you don't have yet. We don't have for months, but I went ahead.
October through December, I get them.
Yeah, but we're looking forward to seeing him. He's going to be great.
Yeah.
But I did get the Cloud City Best Spin Princess Leia, which I did review here on the Plastic Planet about a week ago as part of our 40th anniversary Empire Strikes Back celebration, which we've been doing all month here on the Plastic Planet. I've got 2 videos up so far celebrating that. And so really, really awesome. So I did get that, but I reviewed it. But that kind of like, I had been so good about not buying shit with the whole, COVID thing going on and just, economic uncertainty. I was like, I really should be saving money right now and just being just really, really practical, essentials only. And then I bought a Princess Leia Hot Toys figure. I'm like, let's get another one. So I bought another Hot Toys figure and it just came today. I got him off eBay though. And I just got to caveat it because I always kind of squirrel gifts, cards, and things like that. I had a gift card from Christmas from my boss for $75, applied it towards this. I got this for only $100, $175 total shipped. But I only spent $100 of my money on it. The Star Wars, I think it's more of a Return of the Jedi Stormtrooper. But anyway, I don't have a Hot Toy Stormtrooper. My only Stormtroopers, standard Stormtroopers, are old Sideshow ones. And they're still good. They still hold up real nice. But I really wanted to get a Hot Toys Stormtrooper, at least one. I was kind of nervous when I got him. I was kind of afraid maybe the dude had pulled a snickerdoodle bait and switch on me, and maybe it was like a First Order Stormtrooper. So I had to. I normally don't unbox these things till I review them, but I had to unbox it to make sure it was the right Stormtrooper, and of course it is. So very excited to get this guy. I mean, I already have a First Order Stormtrooper, which I'm contemplating selling, and as you guys know, I don't sell anything, so that's a big to do for me. Just because I just am trying to distance myself from that brand of Star Wars. But I was like, how can I have a First Order Hot Toy Stormtrooper and not have a real Stormtrooper from Hot Toys? Really? I think that's a valid point, right, guys?
Yeah, I agree.
Collect them all, brother.
Your collection's been garbage until now. You finally pulled it off. Nice work.
So anyway, so I'm really excited. I will be not really reviewing him, but I'll be unboxing him on a very, very soon video of the Plastic Planet. So I did pick up that. Now for the next things, I kind of went bonkers right after that because it was like, holy shit! It's like the floodgates are open and let's spend some money. And I'm going to crush this beer can on my head, guys. You guys are going to see if I can do it. All right, I did. I cheated a little bit. Cheated a little bit because I already squeezed it. Yeah, let's see if I can do it. Oh God, that hurts!
You got to do it faster, man.
It hurts, man. I think it's bleeding. Anyway, that was not a good idea. All right, so anyway, there you go. All right, that was stupid and obnoxious. But anyway, I'm just in a good place tonight, guys. It's a good time to be with my brothers talking plastic shit. Anyway, I did get some more stuff after that because I was like, why the fuck not? I had another gift card that I needed to spend. It was a $50 gift card I got from my mother from GameStop. GameStop's a great retailer, but honestly, guys, I'm afraid they're going to go under in the next few months. They weren't in good shape before this whole thing. I can't imagine what it's going to be like for them now. So I went ahead and I spent that that gift card. And forgive me, they didn't have a real good picture of it on their site, so I'm pulling it up on Big Bad Toy Store. But I don't know if you guys can see this now, but I picked up the hyper real Luke Skywalker Black Series figure. And just again, it's 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back. We're celebrating on the planet, and I think I'm going to get the Vader to go with them and put him in an awesome dueling pose. I think that'll be really fucking sweet. Anyway, so I picked up that
money
guy.
Well spent.
So I picked up that guy. Again, I had a $50 gift card for my mom from Christmas that I really needed to spend at GameStop. Again, I'm showing Big Bad Toy Store here because the picture that they had was so blurry. But look at all the shit he comes with. He's got an extra head sculpt. It's that I think these are 8 inches, not 6 inches, even though they're considered Black Series, and Black Series are typical 6 inches.
Yeah, the Hyper Real's 8.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna get the Vader too, and then I'll set those guys up in like an epic dual pose. And that's going to be really cool.
I just want to know how you get so many damn gift cards, man. You're like the gift card tree, man. It's like every week you're talking about another gift card.
I didn't mention that, Travi. The funny thing is for the longest time, my family never really understood me. And I think collectors can relate to this. A lot of collectors can. Mm-hmm. My family never really understood me. They never I don't want to buy him toys. He's a grown man. Who needs to buy him toys? And I always, for Christmas and for birthdays, I always got, freaking, fleeces that were, one size too small for me because I'm kind of bulky up top and now I'm a little chunky in the middle too. But, it's like I'm hard to kind of shop for with like shirts and sweatshirts and shit. But, I always got like, one size too small fleeces and just weird stuff. But since I've been doing the YouTube channel, my family does watch my YouTube stuff, like my dad and my mom and, even like people I work with and stuff. And all of a sudden they kind of get me. They get why I'm such a freaking, tool. And so like all of a sudden, like now all I get is like gift cards to eBay and Sideshow and GameStop and all kinds of shit. So that's been one real good advantage to doing the YouTube channel is my family get better gifts now. I've noticed that.
Honestly, it's the best, right? Because we've all lived our life where you get this gift that you kind of, sort of, maybe like it, But boy, when you can go spend your own and get a nice little plastic collectible, nothing better.
I love it too because typically no one spends enough money on a gift card for me to buy a all-out collectible because it's this expensive shit. Nor would I expect it to. It's expensive, but it always makes it such a good enabler for me to go out and find shit. I'm like, well, I'll still spend like $300, but I'll be saving like $100 because I got a gift card, and then I'll buy something stupid. So it's fun. It's a win-win. And so, I know I've totally appreciated that. So, I have been getting a lot of gift cards and things like that, and it's enabled me to kind of take a little bit of the edge off all this collecting. So anyway, that's what I ordered. Then, again, just complete financial diarrhea, guys. Just it's like I was so good, and then we ordered that Hot Toys figure, and then it was like I ate at a Chinese restaurant, and it's just all coming out now. I also picked up. See if I can do this right. Sorry, guys. I'm still working the share screen here a little bit. I also picked up, and this is a pre-order. I haven't gotten this yet either, but I also got. Are you guys seeing this right?
Oh, you did get the Vader.
No,
nice.
Get the Vader. I pulled up the wrong thing, guys. Hang on.
Oh man,
you got the other one.
Didn't get the Vader. Hang on. Sorry, I pulled up the wrong tab. Okay, can you see this now? I bought the Black Series 6-inch snow speeder. This mother effer comes out in June. Now, again, I was on the fence whether I wanted to buy this, but check this out, guys. It comes with freaking Dak. When are you ever going to get a Dak action figure? We all know Dak was the guy that was ready to take on the old Empire himself, and then he dies in the first shot of the battle. That's an epic Empire Strikes Back character. And again, we are celebrating the 40th anniversary of the greatest film ever made. And I am putting my money where my mouth is, guys. I'm buying a shit ton of 40th anniversary stuff. So I did pick up this, and it's going to be awesome. Look how fucking huge that thing is. This is 6-inch scale. This is not 3 3/4 inch. This is 6-inch scale. And oops, wrong tab. And it's just, I think it looks really cool. I wish it was a little more weathered. I will admit that. That's my one thing with it. And I don't even know where I'm going to put it, but just look how freaking cool this is. And one of the other reasons I got this was the same reason I got the Hot Toy Stormtrooper. Is the only other big ship I have for Black Series scale is the First Order TIE Fighter, which I'm like,
yeah,
I want to almost sell it. It's this big stupid piece. I almost want to sell it. It's in storage right now. Again, I don't sell anything though. I just don't.
Would anybody buy it? There's the big question.
I don't know. I wouldn't do it. In the ass to ship because it's so huge. It wouldn't.
It's
not
big.
Even, it's not even worth it. So I got those. So I ordered up those two. Now I haven't paid for all that stuff yet. But and I also ordered up in addition to this. And I found them in the store. I almost bought them in Target. I probably should have. I also pre-ordered the Snowspeeder Luke that goes with this. So I'll have Luke and Dak together in the Snowspeeder. How freaking tight is that? That's tight. Come on, guys, that's tight.
So tight.
Dude, I love it, man. Display them together.
Tight.
Thank you. So anyway, those are my new pickups. And then I was like, well, I went in and kind of looked at my credit card bill this month, and because it wasn't looking great anyway, I'll be honest, just because we went to Disney back in February and just stuff kind of just like lingers and kind of like it's like you think you should like pay this off like right away, and you always should, but it's like stuff just kind of lingers, and then just like it's like this ball out in space, and gravity just keeps bringing all this other shit into it. And before you know it, it's got this giant planet of debt, But no, my credit card wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. So I will keep this on pre-order. My thought was maybe to cancel if my credit card looked really bad. But yeah, I'm going to keep it. And it looks really cool. And plus, I ordered some flowers for my mom for Mother's Day, and I spent quite a bit of money on that. And I was kind of like, oh, God. May is the most expensive month of the year for me, family-wise. Mother's Day, 3 birthdays. It's crazy for me. So not a good month for me to be spending money on Hot Toys figures. But anyway, I went the flowers, though. I got an email from Pro Flowers that they had to cancel my order. And so I called my mom up. I was like, Mom, I'm really sorry. The flowers, I love you. And she's like, oh, honey, it's fine. The fact that you called me is enough. And this is great. Thank you so much, honey. I'm like, okay, Mom. All right, cancel the order. So anyway, that was $75 I saved too. So anyway, I'm talking too much, guys. But anyway, those are my pickups. I am very excited about them. I think that Snowspeeder is going to be great.
I would say for the size, for $119, the value of that Snowspeeder is pretty damn good, man.
Let's just real fast. Hang on one second. I just want to talk about one more piece. Hang on one second while I am bringing it up, because I didn't even think to bring it up. I want to talk about one more piece and put Uncle Pat on the spot. And frankly, I'm tempted by this.
I know
too.
what piece you're bringing up. It's actually on my computer screen right now as we were talking. I was considering doing it a pre-order. Let's talk about it, though, because I have some concerns.
Okay, well, let's talk about it. I'm bringing it up.
How can you have concerns on that piece?
I'm bringing it up.
I'll show you in a second.
I'm having some trouble finding it. I did a search. Where the hell is it?
Big Bad Toy Store.
I'm on Big Bad Toy Store. I'm scrolling.
Name of it.
I am frantically scrolling down.
Search it.
I did search it. It didn't come up anything. Hang on.
All you have to do is type.
Maybe it's numeric. Maybe it's numeric. Yes, it's numeric.
Yes.
Okay, it's numeric. All right, so here it is. I brought it up. Let me do a share. Let me come back to this screen. Let me do a share screen. Let me do the Chrome tab. There it is. All right, the vintage VOTC Black. This is Black Series, though, right? Is this Black Series?
No, it's not Black Series.
Oh, it's not Black Series. You're right. It's vintage
collection.
3/4 inch. But still, this is phenomenal. And what I love about this piece so much is the fact that it's got a horizontal acrylic or maybe plastic clear stand that
so you can, vertical stand.
Vertical, right? I say horizontal. Yeah, vertical. A vertical stand. When have you ever been able to, in the history of Slave One toys, going back to 1981 or whatever, when have you ever been able to properly display Slave One? Like
you had
this?
to hang him.
No, my die cast.
Oh, really?
My die cast. Yeah, they came with the plastic thing where it was vertical.
Okay, so that's one exception maybe. But again, I just can't let me pop back in there and I think this. I was really tempted to order this piece myself and to tack it on. This is one I'm squatting on, just because I've got so much other shit going on.
Right.
But look how cool this is. I mean, you get a little carbonite Han Solo. Look at the back engines. So pretty, man.
The details.
There you go. Look at the cockpit, dude. You can put 3 characters in that motherfucking cockpit. Okay, thoughts.
Right, so go to the next one. Go to the next, not this next one, but the one after it, where it has it like them loading in Captain Solo into the cargo hold.
Oh, awesome.
Next one over.
Next one. Okay, sorry.
Keep going. There you go. Okay, so, and this is my concern. And I don't have my other like Slave one. Like they've come out with some good Slave ones post, like the original one we had when we were kids.
Sure.
The more recent ones are really good.
One as a gift one time. I can't remember which one it was, but I did.
Yeah, it might have been Django's, or no, maybe I bought. I don't know. Well, there's a few versions, right? And I've got a few versions. Is it really? It's not to scale. It's not close to scale. It's still small, and that was my I froze on this page, and I was like, is it really worth that kind of cash to get this ship? If it's not, remotely, it's still pretty close to the size of the other ones they've come out with. Maybe it's a little bigger, but I don't know.
Looks so big in this one, though. Look at that. Yeah,
so,
look at that figure.
I'd almost say, if you go back to that other picture, height-wise, it looks pretty good to the characters. Maybe length-wise, like the carbonite looks like.
I can see that. It's not quite long enough.
Like, yeah, the length is probably would be my concern, because look at that carbonite going all the way in. But I'd say it's close.
That's what she said.
Uncle Pat. Realistically, Uncle Pat, how are you going to display this thing anyway? You're not going to display it like this. You're going to have it up.
No. I mean, but you think about it though. If you're right, I mean, it's got the cool stand, and that's cool, and it does look great. Again, but for $150, is it worth getting something that's pretty close to the scale of the last ones they came out with? Like, what are they really giving you here that you didn't get on the previous versions? I think that's my question.
Yes, that's valid, but it feels bigger to me, and it feels like more of a value because you get that big stand. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm tempted to order it up myself.
That's why I've been squatting on it. I mean, my initial was like, oh, it's pretty, I want to get it, but then $150, and you're like, well, what am I really buying? Am I buying something that's better than what I've had?
I think this is one of those that you're going, like they say in the commercials on TV for the American Eagle coin collection, buy now or have future regrets. I think this is one where you might have future
Look at the cell barge, right? I would love to get a cell barge for even close to the original price.
Yeah. Trav has future regrets.
Yes, I do. Right? So for this, it's interesting though, right? Because this one is more expensive than the Snowspeeder. And it's a smaller ship because it's a different scale. But having said that, I think the detail on this looks better. If you look at the engine and the paint job and everything else, I think when you look down at the detail, this will beat the Snowspeeder in that manner, but the Snowspeeder will be better.
The Snowspeeder is, right? It'll be huge. Black Series scale, it'll make this look like small. And how does that make sense? What are you paying for here?
Well, this is 3 3/4 inch, though. That's significantly small.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It's like twice as much.
You're saying that for $30 more, $30 less, you're getting more of a value with the Black Series Snowspeeder. That's valid.
I think what you picked up was a good buy.
That's valid.
I think it's absolutely a good buy. This I'm still questioning.
I don't know, man.
I'd be curious to see what the guys in the chat think. I see them chatting. If what their opinions are. We can move on from this, but I'd be curious to know what they think about this.
I just wanted to say welcome in Soundwave NL 1977. Roy, welcome to the show, brother. I'm glad you could join us this time. Roy is from Holland, and we are stoked to have another international connection here on the Plastic Planet. And he says, let me pull him up because Roy's a great subscriber. I want to give him some love. Finally, I can see this live, and it is 5:30 in the morning here. That is a big Plastic Planet salute to get your ass up at 5:30 in the morning to hang out with us. Thank you, Roy. Love you, man.
Yes.
He says that freaking sucks. Has been that I can't watch this for so long. I'm having surgery in about an hour, so fingers crossed. Roy, brother, don't make us worry about you, man. I hope you're okay. That's not cool. I hope you're okay, brother. So anyway, but thank you so much for hanging out with us, man. Appreciate it. And hopefully you're okay, man. Let me know, man. Give me a text on Facebook or something. Let me know that you're okay after your surgery. Not obviously you have more important people to tell than your good buddy Knick-Knack, but when you're feeling better, when you're feeling better, let me know.
Speedy recovery, sir.
Yes, exactly. All right, guys. So this is a good transition into Buy Squatter Pass. So my feeling is you get this piece right here, at least for me. How good would it look? Let's move on to Buy Squatter Pass. And how good would this look with, as I'm bringing him up, how good would this look with, go to the share screen, stop screen, and let me go share, and let me pull this up on the Chrome. And how good would this look with this motherfucker? This is the 40th anniversary vintage color version of Boba Fett from Hot Toys. And it came out, it came out for pre-order on May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Guys, this is a big Buy Squatter Pass. Let's talk about it really fast. Pat, you're the lead guy here on the Boba Fett front. I know you're the big Boba Fett fan out of all three of us. What do you think about this piece, dude? Come on, I want to hear it.
I mean, the colors are kind of cool, right? It's all vintage. So here's my thing: it's like they came out with that animated version of Boba Fett. You guys remember that one from the cartoon?
From the Christmas special, the holiday special, from 1977 or something.
The droids and Luke, and there was that weird animation style from the Christmas special. They came out with that one. They came out with the white prototype version, right? They've come out with one that's got the extra, like, it wasn't the white prototype, but it was the other prototype that they had. He had like circles on his gloves and a weird blaster. You remember what I'm talking about? Like there was a different version that didn't make it to the movie. But so they've made a number of versions.
The Mythos version, right?
I don't know. It was Mythos. Well, there was the Mythos version too, but this was a different one. This was a different one too. Okay. But so they've had a bunch, right? And I've passed on every one. And sometimes I regret it, sometimes I don't. So in this case, I'm squatting because there's part of me, like you said, right? Do you do something like this and then regret missing it, like I have on the other figures? But is it really worth getting something that's so brightly colored? And dude, I'm a hard squat on this one. I guess that's all I can say. I don't even know what to do.
How about you, man? Are you a Buy Squatter Pass on this one?
Man, I'm a pass. And the reason is I like the color. I like the old classic stuff. But if you look at some of the pictures up close, especially when it's in his hand, it looks thrumpy, man. It looks like a thrumpy Boba Fett, which is kind of a little bit the older style. I kind of get it. But for that type of money, for $255, what you can get brand new, from Hot Toys, I don't know. I think that's the way I would go. But man, I always have a respect for the classic stuff, though, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, guys, I got to tell you, for me, I don't have a Hot Toys Boba Fett. My only Boba Fett in my collection currently is a Metacom Boba Fett, an undersized dude. It's a good figure. Don't laugh. It's a good figure, but it's undersized. It's undersized.
Sure.
It's dramatically undersized. It was like the first imports before Hot Toys, all that. So I haven't bought a Boba Fett figure in probably 13 years. And I should have gotten like multiple versions of Boba Fett by now. I know I'm not the biggest Boba Fett fan. I recognize his importance to the saga. This is a buy for me. I haven't done it yet, but this is a buy for me. I want this figure. I love the vintage coloring. I love the fact that this will literally pop on a shelf. Look at the colors there, man. I love that. You know what? And I know it's not screen accurate or anything, but I love things that really pop. It's sort of like the green chest plate there. If you look, the green chest plate sort of feels like a callback almost. Sort of feels like a callback almost to the Hasbro, or not the Hasbro, the Kenner 12-inch Boba Fett, that came out in 1979 or 1980 or 81. I don't remember. I never had it, but it sort of feels like, sort of has a vintage callback to. Well, it is a vintage callback, but sort of has a 12-inch vintage callback.
Does.
And it's also playing off of this figure too. The colors are very much from the 12-inch figure, but you can see with.
Oh, you can definitely see the classic 3 3/4 inch in this figure as well.
Yeah. So, but I mean, they did that together. So I totally get where you're coming from, with that, right? I guess my problem is I've skipped on every other one for various reasons. Usually just because I didn't have the money at the time. But now I'm so late in the game. I think that's my part too. Is like, do I get this alternate version now?
Where do you start?
I missed all the other alternate versions, and now that I feel better, I don't have them. Collect them all.
It'll be easier to pick up down the road to back collect, but this one may not be, because this is an exclusive. The 40th anniversary. It's going to be a little lower run, I believe. Probably. I don't know. I would say if you're on the fence, get it. But I'm going to get this one. This is to me. I did want to point out Roy in the chat says he's got to go. Roy, best of luck. Bless you. Thank you so much for joining us, and stay safe, brother. And hope you're okay. And do let us know. Keep us in the loop as far as your health. Stay safe, brother.
Good luck, man.
We're all one big family here on the Plastic Planet. This is our family. This is where this is. And you guys mean so much to me. And I just whenever you guys got shit going on in your lives, I root for you guys, all you guys. So thank you again, Roy. Take care, brother. Anyway, let's go back. Let's see here. Any other comments in the chat? We kind of neglected it for a little while. There's lots of comments, but let's see here. Let's see here. General Grievous 2005. I picked up a bunch of Sideshow Mythos Boba Fett parts and turned them into my Return of the Jedi version. That's awesome.
That'd be cool.
Kit bashing is really cool. I have a lot of love for kit bashing. I don't do it a lot myself, but I think that's really cool. I think you can create some pretty sweet shit with that. So anyway, all right. So let's move on.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
Knick-Knack. Before we leave the Boba, question for you.
Sure, man.
We were at the Hero headquarters before, the virus hit. And you came this close to getting the Mythos Boba.
I did.
For, I think, a similar price.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, that Mythos Boba Fett is dynamite.
Awesome.
Now, assuming, price is within $40 of this, which one would you rather have?
Honestly, I'd rather have the Mythos. But the problem with the Mythos that particular day was it was at a comic book store. It was at retail. I had to pay taxes. I had to pay for the whole thing up front. I didn't want to do it that day. This I can pre-order and pay it off over a couple months. It's much more palatable financially.
Okay. Got it, man.
I think that's fair. Again, I really like this one a lot. I love the Mythos. I would really like to get this one, and then I would be very interested to go back and back collect a few Boba Fetts. I wish I could get the prototype Boba Fett, the all white one that Uncle Pat talked about. I love that figure. I have a Black Series version of that figure. I love that all white Boba Fett. I would love to have this one, the all white Sideshow Boba Fett I just talked about, and then like a really good Hot Toys version as well. So this might encourage me to go back and do some back collecting on Boba Fett. Even though he's not like my favorite character of all time, he is. I recognize his importance in the Star Wars saga for sure. All right, so let's oh shit, I almost hit the wrong back. I almost backed out of the chat. So anyway, let's go and look at our next figure here, and I'm going to pull it up while it's just going to take me a second here. And this is one I actually accidentally teased a second ago, but here it is again. And let me get to the right page, and let me get to the right. Well, here, I'll just pull it up, and I can do it while we talk. Let me hit the share screen. Sorry, guys. I really hate this lull here while I get my shit together. But let's pull this up. Hope you guys can see that. Yes. So this was also announced on May the 4th, or May the 4th be with you. And this is the Darth Vader. This is a piece I already have. So I'll already just bow out and say this is a non-buy for me. This is a non-buy. But let's just look at it and talk about it for a second. This is a great Vader. This is probably like the best Vader, I think, in 1/6 scale ever. And let's just kind of look at him a little bit here. This is like, again, this guy's been out for a while. Again, what they're doing is they're selling the same damn figure, I believe. I don't even think there's any variations in the paint on this one, but they are putting it in this awesome box. Look at that box, just like the book. But look at that box.
Yep.
All right, Uncle Pat, I don't think you're a buy on this, but would you even consider squatting on this, considering the only Vader you have in your collection right now is an old Sideshow one? Would you consider
it's the New Hope Sideshow one. I mean, I'd absolutely consider it.
I believe his MSRP is going to be $285 US. Not cheap at all, but you get a lot of shit, and you get that stand, and that stand lights up. So anyway, I'll let you go ahead. I'm sorry I talked over you.
No, it's fine. I'm between squat and pass. Like, I can see the value of picking this up because, I mean, I do appreciate the ones you've got. But being that, I mean, I do, and I love Vader, don't get me wrong, I'm very happy with the Sideshow one I have. I don't mind him. And if I ever really need a Vader fix, dude, I just got to come to the Plastic Planet.
Well,
and I have Vader everywhere, 24/7.
I have about 12 Vaders here in the Plastic.
I know.
Right.
It's true. By the way, guys, Robert Just a Fan is joining us. He's got to get up at 3 a.m., but thank you, brother, for joining us. And so is Danny Lee. Danny Lee is in the house as well. So cheers. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Trav, would you consider, you don't have any kind of premium Vader in your collection outside of, I think, a Gentle Giant statue. Would this be something you'd consider? Because, man, this would look pretty fucking sweet in your collection, dude.
Dude, I got the Sideshow.
No, yeah, that's right. You have the not the 1/6 scale one though. You have a premium format.
Premium format. That's right. I don't have a good 1/6 scale one. That's right. I have the Gentle Giant bust, which I love. Dude, I mean, this is a buy for me, right? If it's the best 1/6 Vader,
this is the best in my opinion, and that's take it for what it's worth. My opinion, this is the best 1/6 scale Vader ever done.
Well, a guy that has 2 rooms of Star Wars, man, and has 12 Vaders, he definitely knows. So this is a buy for me, dude. I mean, classic Vader. Are you kidding me? And if it's the best in that scale, plus you get the kick-ass box. I mean, you know, in a way, right? The box. I'm like you. The box just makes a tough decision because it's more shit to store or how to display. But it's cool to have, man. It's cool to have.
That's another thing too. When I buy my boba, it's like I almost want to like keep that boba in that window box. And then buy like the Mythos boba or the prototype boba and have them standing next to the box in a detail. How
there you go.
Fucking sweet would that be? That'd be awesome, right?
I don't know, man. As cool as that box is, I think if you do get the boba, you want them displayed for those colors to pop like you were talking about, though, man. I mean, I know he has the window, but
yeah, I know that's just an awesome box. I hope they do it right and that you can actually remove the figure from the box without jacking up the box, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That'd be cool.
Who knows? But anyway, so that's a buy for you. That's great.
I love it, man. Yeah.
That's great. That's something you could pre-order now and then pay on. And so that would be awesome. Let's see here. Paul is saying, let me throw up Paul here. We haven't given Paul any love. Paul, still debating on this ESB Vader as my first Hot Toys. If I can only stop buying Masterpiece Transformers. So Paul and Uncle Pat are sort of spirit animals in their collecting habits. I would encourage Paul, as an avid Hot Toys man, to go down to open up to pop that cork, man, pop that cherry, and get your first Hot Toys figure. And this would be the one to do it, I think.
I did it, Paul. I ordered my first Hot Toys 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, Trav did it, and we've converted Trav. So. You know, yeah,
they're worth it. They're worth it. They're so awesome.
Awesome. I just, you know what, and again, this, you know what, I really love to make the Plastic Planet what I consider a no shill zone. There's other YouTubers out there that I'm not going to name names, but I think they're kind of shilly. There's no shill zone. I don't get shit from anybody. I have 800 subscribers. This is as organic as it gets on YouTube here on the Plastic Planet. Not to toot my own horn or anything.
Grassroots.
It is. It's
grassroots here at the bus.
But again, not to be a shill, but Hot Toys. I mean, I've never gotten a Hot Toys figure and been like, well, no, that's not true. But it's not the Hot Toys' fault. But I've never gotten a Hot Toys figure and been like, oh, I wish I hadn't bought that. My only caveat is I have a Hot Toys Rey, a Hot Toys Force Awakens Luke, and a Hot Toys Finn, and a Hot Toys First Order Stormtrooper. 4 Hot Toys figures that I really regret owning, but that's not Hot Toys' fault that the movies were shit. Anyway, and again, I haven't sold them. I probably should just sell them and buy some more cool original trilogy stuff. But anyway, that's not here nor there. But anyway, I've never had a bad Hot Toys experience. Let's see here. Let's go back to the chat just for one moment. Robert Just Fan says put the animated Boba in the box. So I think he's talking about the one that came out for the holiday special. That would be kind of cool. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. Danny Lee says, let's give Danny Lee some love. Thank you, Danny Lee, for hanging out this night, man. Me too. I was thinking of keeping Boba in the box because the window display. So he's on the same page as I am. And I just love this window display. I think this is, again, this is like Hot Toys gets it. They really get how to like just completely like dupe us collectors. It's like, it's such a cool box. I love the box. I basically already have it, but I love the box. I'm not going to buy a box. I have this figure. He's proudly displayed upstairs. He looks great. I've reviewed him here on the channel. And since this figure came out, that review has gotten a lot more traffic. And in that review, I actually take off my shirt. It's kind of embarrassing as a gag. But anyway, yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm just waiting to get called fat again. That was great. But oh well. But anyway, so yeah. So anyway, this is a pass for me just because I already have it. But the box is pretty freaking awesome. So anyway, anything that is on your radar, Uncle Pat, right now, as far as anything you want to buy?
Let's see. I mean, I don't know. I've been looking at Sideshow. I've been in this Sideshow Hot Toys. The same kind of thing. I've been looking at, because if you Knick-Knack, if you want to bring something up, they do have a wait list open on the Boba Fett I was talking about.
Okay, this is Sideshow.
This is a Sideshow Boba Fett. Oh no, it's a Hot Toys Boba Fett. It's on sideshow.com.
Is it the 267?
It's the 267 one.
Yeah,
if you bring him up.
Yeah, I got him up. Hang on, let me come back and do a share screen. This one's been around for a while, but still.
Yeah, and it's just a wait list. It's not.
Yeah.
There's no guarantees.
There's
right?
no guarantees. Usually the wait lists get converted. I waitlisted my which is the boxes right here. She's actually open and displayed. But I did waitlist my QMX.
Spock.
Yeah, Mr. Spock. Oh, I'm gonna hurt my hands getting this out. Yeah, there he is. So I did QMX my. I did waitlist this was Spock and it converted. However, I did also waitlist and it has not converted, and I'm kind of glad because it's really expensive. I waitlisted the Dairuger Bandai, I think Voltron. The Dairuger is the vehicle, of course.
Oh wow!
I waitlisted that, and that hasn't converted. So I've had one. I'm 1 for 1. I'm not 1 for 1. I'm 1 for 2 on waitlist right now. So I think you'd have a high chance of getting this stuff if you waitlist.
I don't know, man, because every time I've done a waitlist on a Star Wars figure, nothing ever happened. I've done a bunch back in the day and never had anything. But maybe that's changed, right? Maybe it's different now. But
we are in a pandemic.
Yep,
we are. People are gonna start freaking out. Be like, "Oh, you know what?"
Well, I just okay. I'm not gonna put in my info here on the internet, but I'm gonna waitlist him, dude. I'm gonna waitlist this figure, and then I'm going to pre-order the other one, and then I want both.
All right, Knick-Knack.
I want both, guys. It's okay. So it's the 40th anniversary of my favorite film of all time, The Empire Strikes Back. I want both. So I am going to, now again, this is not a chill-free zone, but, Hot Toys is so awesome, right? So when we get offline here, I'm going to pre-order the one we just, the 40th anniversary Boba Fett. I'm going to waitlist this one. I may not get it, but I should put it in a wait list, right?
All right.
Well, I just think you should only waitlist it if Uncle Pat will waitlist it with you. That's the only way,
No, I'm not even going to gamble. I'm not even going to bargain on this one. I'm going to do it.
I just got on the wait list. So
Uncle Pat's on the wait list. Awesome.
I'm on the wait list.
All right, Pat.
Guys, Following Freddy is in the house tonight. Following Freddy is an awesome subscriber. I want to give him a shout out real fast. Thank you so much, Following Freddy. Look at that. What do you have there, Following Freddy, and then in your profile pic? That's awesome, dude. It's like you're wrestling with a giant rubber wacky wall walker there. That's awesome. Anyway, that is awesome. Robert Just Fan asked me if I've seen Justice League Dark Apocalypse yet. I'm going to see it probably this weekend. That's the new animated Justice League movie. But yeah, I will definitely. I will double see it. And Danny Lee says double waitlisting. I don't know if he's talking about the Boba Fett, but that's what he says. So and then Wisconsin Paul says Pringles, Knick-Knack. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm sure it's maybe something.
Once you pop,
you can't stop. That's right.
Stop.
Yes. Okay. I thought maybe he was saying I look like I've been eating a lot of Pringles, and he wouldn't be wrong. But anyway, yes, I'm going to get on the wait list for this, like we just said, when we get off here. Guys, we have 17 people watching right now, so thank you guys so much. That's a lot of people.
Thank you.
Channel. You know, we're under 900 subscribers here on the Plastic Planet. The fact that we have 17 people watching is an honor. Love you guys so much. Thank you so much for joining us. And Falling Freddy says Octopus Wrestling. Yeah, that's just freaking cool. And Robert Just a Fan was talking about Justice League Dark Apocalypse, which I will see this weekend. And he says, when I pull up these big screen, these shout outs to subscribers, it totally hides Uncle Pat. Sorry, Uncle Pat. But it says Saw It on Digital comes out in Blu-ray next week. Yeah, dude, I'm probably gonna go buy the Blu-ray because I have been kind of following this version of the Justice League. It's really well done in the DC animated. And it's awesome. We're not going to get too much on a DC tangent tonight because we're focusing on Star Wars because it is Empire Strikes Back month on the Plastic Planet, as I said about 6 times now. And but we don't want to get out. And it is a very special birthday as well, which we will be talking about here in a little bit as well. But yes. So anyway, Trav, before we move on, do you have anything you're looking at right now?
You know, so sadly enough, I did get outbid for Cy Snoodle's General Giant bust. You know, I have the rest of the band there. I got Droopy McCool and everything else. I was going to complete the band, but got outbid. So they're kind of hard to come by. So if I see one again, I'm sure I'll bid. But other than that, man, I'm tempted on a lot of things. Both the ships, the Snow Speeder and the Slave One we reviewed. And then still, you know, going down the Hot Toys room, you know, I'm still looking at the Heavy Armor Mandalorian as well as the Mandalorian with Pat's favorite.
I think
I was looking at it too.
Yeah.
The heavy armor, that is.
You're looking at the Heavy Armor? Yeah.
Yeah. If it comes with the MacGuffin, I don't want it. But
dude, the heavy armor one looks sweet. That bright blue, man. Talk about popping.
No doubt, dude.
Character design is just awesome on that. By the way, guys, if you guys get a chance, and I don't know, it's on Disney Plus, but there's a documentary about the Mandalorian, and it's just like sort of a roundtable discussion. And I think, not to shout out another YouTuber who is a billion times bigger than me, but I think Star Wars Theory posted this interview, just this clip of this interview last night. You can probably go back and find it during one of his live streams. You know, he's got 1 million subscribers. He's a billion subscriber guy. He's a full-time YouTuber. Awesome dude. Not that I met him or anything, but he's awesome. He posted the Dave Filoni talk about the prequels. Dave Filoni really breaks down just how epic the prequels are. And I would encourage every Star Wars fan, especially me who has suffered through a lot of prequel hate since they came out. I'm a prequel lover. To go watch this because you listen to Dave Filoni talk about the prequels, talk about George Lucas, talk about the connections, not to the bullshit Disney stuff, which is ironic considering this is on Disney Plus. He really talks about the connections. There's Jar Jar. He talks about the connections between episode 1 and episode 6, which is the true saga, as we all know. And, you know, he talks about like, you know, the love, the difference in what would have happened with Anakin had Qui-Gon not died in episode 1. That, you know, because Qui-Gon really felt, you know, thought outside of the box as far as the Jedi Order goes, and that Anakin would have been loved by Qui-Gon as a father, whereas Obi-Wan thought him as a brother, more or less. And that had Qui-Gon not died in episode 1, Anakin's life projection would have been much different, and he would have turned out to be a different Jedi altogether. And that's why he said the music in the John Williams song, as that epic lightsaber duel is happening between the three of them, Obi-Wan, Darth Maul, and Qui-Gon, is Duel of the Fates. The fate is what of Anakin Skywalker is at stake in that film, in that scene. And as Qui-Gon is killed, Anakin's fate is sealed at that moment. It's so epic. This is such an epic fucking thing. And just like Dave Filoni, you know, there were some decisions they made with Rebels that I hated. But you know what? The dude gets it, man. He gets it. So if you have Disney Plus, go watch it. If you just want to see it for free on YouTube, go to Star Wars Theories. And not now, but later. Go to Star Wars Theory and check it out. It should be still up.
Dude, I am so glad you said that. And that's well said, man. Because I do love it how that shit ties together.
Yeah.
And it is so important, man.
So such a great defense of George Lucas, who is today, and we'll be talking about George Lucas in a little bit. But it's such a great defense of George Lucas, and it's such a great defense of what was going on with the prequels that went over. I always felt people that didn't like the prequels, a lot of shit went over their head, and I'm not trying to be insulting, but I always felt like, you know what, they got caught up on the memes, and not that there were memes back in the early 2000s, but they got caught up on the internet banter about the prequels, about the bad dialogue. And yes, there's bad dialogue, although they're supposed to be reminiscent of Flash Gordon serials from the 1950s. So I don't know what people expected.
There's bad dialogue in the classic, the original trilogy.
Agreed.
There's horrible dialogues.
Agreed. And maybe we'll have a prequel defense live stream at another time. We're not going to get too much into that now, but it was just so refreshing after all these years. And what it's taken, for someone like myself, who like way before I had a YouTube channel, I spent my days on the IMDb internet boards defending the Star Wars prequels from haters. And it's just so nice to see the prequels finally getting the love and respect that they deserve. Especially, it's a nice thing to say on George Lucas's birthday, because I think George Lucas felt betrayed by a lot of people because of the prequels. And I think that he did them right. You know what? There's a few things in the prequels that I can't defend, but overall, I think he did them right. Anyway, where the hell was I going? What were we going to talk about? Right. Anyway, let's move on to our next subject, and this does deal with Lucasfilm. And let me see if I can do a screen share with you as I open this giant freaking beer. I'm on to the 40 now, guys.
Heck yeah. You know what? I'm going to join you. I'll be back. I'm grabbing a beer too.
Okay, but hurry back, dude. Hurry back. This is the important part. This is what I teased in the video, in the trailer, not trailer, but the thumbnail for this video. And while you're there, let's go to the chat really fast. Following Freddie agrees. Dave Filoni's speech was awesome. Again, go check it out. It's amazing.
Let's check that out.
Robert Just a Fan says, keep seeing Jar Jar selling Geico. That's fair.
Knick-Knack. They do have the Boba Fett Mythos is available still for pre-order.
Is he really?
Yeah, I'm actually looking at him right now.
Okay, well, I may be buying him then. And I don't know.
This is the danger. This is the danger of us like doing a live stream, talking collectibles, and me drinking alcohol. It's not good for my pocketbook, dude.
It gets dangerous.
I wouldn't have even considered this.
It's dangerous. Ginty, I love you, brother. Still don't like the prequels. That's all right, buddy. That's all right. I love you, Mike. I love you, Mike. Cheers, brother. But
as long as you like the plastic planet.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Hopefully, Trav will rejoin us here in a second. So anyway, well, let's just get to it. So this is the crux of it. I don't recommend anyone going to this website, because not that it's like a bad website, but I don't want to give these guys credit because I think they're kind of muckrakers in the nerd community, and that's Comic Book Resource. But they did have a link to a. Is Trav back yet? Come on, Trav.
There he is.
Okay. So anyway, Trav, what are you drinking, buddy?
We got a cookie.
Oh, you got a cookie?
Yeah, big shout out to Crumble Cookie, man. These are the best damn cookies. I mean, this is the snack of champions right here.
Dude, that is awesome. That is awesome.
And just for everybody else that's viewing, Crumble Cookie is a delivery cookie service here in the great state of Colorado. So you go online and buy a bunch of cookies, they bring it to your door. It's amazing.
We have it all here, guys. We have legalized marijuana, legalized recreational marijuana, and deliverable frosted cookies. But as the locals say here in Colorado, no vacancy. The state is full. Don't come here. But sorry. You know what? I love watching South Park, because those guys are Colorado guys too. They went to CU, and the creators of South Park, and there's so much Colorado love on that show. I do love that. So anyway, all right. So. Yeah, Ginty 30. Yeah, Ginty's such a great. He's a great guy, man. He's been supporting my channel since the very, very first video. So, Mike, I love you, Mike. Thanks, brother. Well, anyway, all right. So, what I was getting to, are you choking on that crumble cookie, Trev?
No, I am, dude. It's a damn big cookie, but it's good.
What else are we talking about? The great state of Colorado has?
Changing gears just a tiny bit. Let me do a share screen here. And again, I don't recommend anyone going to this website, because I think these guys are like, is it going to come up?
Comic Book Resources is the worst. I'm just going to go ahead and say it out loud.
Yeah, they are. Why is it not coming up?
I'm a comic book guy, and I've seen this I've been there. And there's a few others I won't name, but yeah, they're the worst.
Yeah, they are.
Anyway,
again, I don't know why it's not coming up. Let me try one more time.
Okay.
Maybe it's like they know we're on a live stream and they don't want to bring it up. Maybe they like know. That's weird. Okay, that's weird.
What does it say?
Okay, well, so anyway, a representative from Lucasfilm, and now I can't remember his name. I don't know why that's not coming up.
Can you see it?
No, I can't see it at all. It's like it went away. It's like the whole.
Maybe they took it down because it was so atrocious.
No, I don't know if they put it up for a couple days now, and a number of YouTube channels have already commented on it and done a share screen on this. So anyway, so the headline of the article is Star Wars story head at Lucasfilm, and this is some kid, I don't know his name, tells, and he did this in a tweet. He says, tells fans to chill. It's all fake anyway. And I really wanted to show you guys the tweet. I don't know why it's not coming up. We're having some technical difficulties here. But basically in a tweet, he says, guys, believe what you want as far as Canon goes. It's all fake anyway.
Oh, I've got it up, Knick-Knack. Let me read it. Let me read it out.
Okay.
This is Matt Martin.
Okay.
On
Again,
Twitter.
I saw this on other YouTube channels. This has been all over YouTube. I just thought you guys would like to hear us comment on it.
Yeah, so he says, so to summarize, there is a reason that we need to internally know what is and isn't canon so we can keep our line of official storytelling as aligned as possible, but that doesn't mean fans can't individually pick and choose what they want to accept as true. It's all fake anyway, so you can choose to accept whatever you want as part of the story.
Right, and that second part was one tweet. That was a second tweet. The first one was
that was the second tweet. It's a solid. It's one.
The first tweet was kind of well written. I don't mind that. The second tweet, I mean, it's all true. I get that. It's not real. We all know Star Wars is fiction. But saying it's all fake to people who have been, lovers of this franchise for 30, 40 years and have spent tens of thousands of dollars on their collectibles, say it in that kind of terminology to me is, once again, they don't get it. Lucasfilm does not.
Did you see the picture of the guy? He looks like he's fucking 12 years old.
He's worked, he's worked at Lucasfilm since 2007, so he does go back to the old regime before Disney. But
looks like he's 12 years old.
Yeah, if I was the head, guys, if I was the head of a large corporation, I would not want my employees talking to my customers like that. Just
no.
Like, do you think George Lucas would have let that happen?
No. No, I mean, I'm just saying. It's true. What he's saying is great. Actually, what he's saying is kind of liberating, and I'm going to get into that in a minute. But what he's saying, how he says it, it's all fake. That's so dismissive. That's so dismissive to fans. It's such a fuck you. It really is, and it just goes back to the fact that these people are so tone deaf. I think so many of them, and. Again, it's like if I was the head of a corporation and I knew that my employees were talking to customers like that, I would be I would not be happy. If I was, if I was the CEO of if you guys ever follow like Wendy's online, Wendy's social media person is brilliant and they're funny. He, she, whoever they are, they're funny. And they all, corporations get shit all the time. Lucasfilm acts like they're the first company to ever get like fan input back at them. And they act like such victims. They just bother me. It bothers me. And the fact that he just says fake just bothers me. It's like if somebody complained about getting a cold hamburger to Wendy's social media and they tweeted back, well, it's all just fucking junk food anyway. So who cares?
All right.
It's very true. No, it's terrible. It's not professional in any stretch of the imagination. Just from somebody that works in the business, working a corporate America, like if I did anything remote to that about the company in representing the company I work for, my ass would be in so much trouble. I can't even imagine. But at the same time, is this guy even getting? He's probably not even getting a slap on the hand, right? They're just like the people that care about this, like you, Knick-Knack. You don't matter. You don't like our new products, so you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
That's what I get from Disney's stance on all of this.
Yeah, you know what? For a company that's been shut down in their entire theme park array for the last month, a company that bled, that in their second quarter earnings report were down 90% in profits. I think at some point they would start wanting to make money again. I don't understand the thinking here. I really don't. And again, what he said wasn't incorrect. It's actually kind of liberating that he said that, to be honest. Although what he's doing is giving this Lucasfilm story group carte blanche. I don't know the word. Carte blanche. Move forward and start doing and just saying, well, canon doesn't matter because it's all up to your individual headcanon. So it doesn't matter if we totally screw over, every inch of the Star Wars franchise that has been, beloved for decades.
I would say this is like as I read the statement, like you said, Knick-Knack, he's right in that he's saying the reason, so what he's saying is internally they have to have it all canon, right? Like what they consider canon is important, and it's a totally valid point. If they're telling stories, if they're creating a universe, they have to know what they consider to be true, right? And then his second statement's like, you know what? But it's okay if you guys don't like this piece, you can set it aside. We're going to have to keep the canon we need to tell the story, right? To create the new universe. But you can just ignore that. It's fine. It's really the back statement, the second part of that tweet, where he screws himself over, right? That's the dismissive part. The first part is actually totally logical and appropriate, right? Like, I totally agree. And it's almost like if he just stuck with that, it wouldn't be, again, that's just being dismissive to anybody that didn't like this sequel stuff.
Right.
That's what that is.
Trav, you got
I'll say it's demeaning to fans. You can't do that to your fans. It's one-on-one. I mean, come on. I guess my only solace in it is when I see someone at a company act like that. It tells me they're being defensive and and they're kind of striking back. Yeah. That's what it kind of felt like to me. And, since they kind of put us through so much turmoil by, killing our childhood with some of the events that took place, I can't help but smile a little bit that at least hopefully they're getting enough slack. Yeah. And, and there's enough internal turmoil going on over there for him to act defensive like that and say things like that. That tells me there's at least turmoil there, which is deserved. Listen, it's deserved that there should be a ton of internal strife and anger going on and fighting going on and then acting defensively at this point.
Yeah. Okay, so I lost my train of thought. What the hell was I going to say? I had something to say. I can't remember what it was now. But I'm with you. It's just not the way you talk to fans. That's what just grinds my gears a little bit. The fake, the all cap. I think it was in all caps. Was it all caps, Pat? The word fake? I think it was.
No, it was not.
Okay, fair enough.
It doesn't matter. It's still the statement itself is like, if you care about this stuff, you're an idiot. That's what I totally take from that statement. It's dismissive. If you have a passion for this, it's fake. It's like, why do you care about football? It's just a sport. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it is. It's right. Like, what it is. You know what? And we're all sports fans here. Not everyone in this hobby sports.
No, but
we don't try to talk about too much about sports, but that is true. It's like when your team, we're all like big Bronco fans, Denver Bronco fans here. And you guys can make fun of us in the chat if you want. I know most people are from Denver, but we are big Bronco fans. But it is true when you go to work the next day and people know you're a Bronco fan. It's like people act like you own the freaking team all the time.
What happened to the Broncos?
And then your wife, your loved one, my beloved wife, God bless her, I love her, but the team does bad that day, and she's just like, honey, it's just a game. It's nothing to get worked up about.
Right.
I hate that. It does. It feels a lot like that, saying it in those terms.
It's just a game.
Yep, it does. Yeah. That's a good analogy.
Yeah, it is. It is. Okay, what I wanted to say was just to kind of piggyback off what Trav said. I never felt like, you said that Disney screwed over our childhood. I never felt that way. I don't feel that way. I don't feel like they screwed over our childhood because our childhood can't be touched. It's there. It's, our childhood's over with. It's locked into place. I will always have my wonderful memories of Star Wars growing up. What Disney did to a degree, and I'm getting over it now. I'm beginning to really get over it, even though you wouldn't know it by the way we're talking tonight. They kind of ruined my 40s, man, as far as because Star Wars was such an escape for me, and it kind of went away as an escapism for me. It's not like they ruined my childhood. They kind of screwed over my middle age where it's like where I needed Star Wars the most, But anyway, what this gentleman said in that tweet about he basically is inviting people to have their own headcanon. And I am all about that. I am all about that. I am all about having our own headcanon. So what I put together to guys for you guys tonight, and everyone can kind of comment on it. This is my headcanon. I put together my list of what is and isn't canon in Star Wars according to Knick-Knack, me. I don't mean to say my name in the third person like I'm a rapper or something, but anyway, so hopefully I put together a PowerPoint presentation for you guys. This is very cool, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy this. But I want to go through what my headcanon is, what is canon and what is not according to me. So hopefully I can get this to run all right, because we're not going off of a internet screen share. We're going off of a PowerPoint here. Here it is. All right, you guys seeing this?
All right, got it.
All right, so there it is. This is what I think is absolute canon. This is without a doubt what happened in Star Wars. And obviously, I have the first 6 episodes there. We talked about prequels earlier. I love the prequels. Easy. This is all according to what George Lucas either wrote or he directly supervised. And that's why I also have in there the first 6 seasons, not the 7th. We'll get to that in a minute. The first 6 seasons of the Clone Wars. But that's it. This is absolute canon. This is like George R. Martin's Game of Thrones, or J.R. Tolkien's, am I saying those authors right? J.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. All right. Anything that's not written by the creator is we'll get to that in a second, but isn't absolute canon. This 100% happened. This is Star Wars 1 through 6, and yes, the Clone Wars, and that's it. Thoughts?
I fully 100% agree with your perspective here, Knick-Knack. And in fact, especially supportive of the Clone Wars 1 through 6 seasons. And then you totally cut me off, so Paul's in my face.
Sorry, I just wanted to put Paul up there. He had a great comment.
He did. And I agree with him. But the Clone Wars, so I had a number of good friends at work that were like, oh, I really don't get the prequels. Didn't have enough explained. And I went around and around like, you need to fill in some gaps, right? I mean, you're going from one place to another in the prequels with the Clone Wars. When I got some of them to actually watch the Clone Wars episodes, right? They changed their perspective on the prequels suddenly, right? Because those animated series absolutely fill in a lot of character development that we don't get to see happen, right? Because we're jumping with difference between, say, Luke and Anakin, right? Is we watch Anakin grow up. Luke's already a man when we meet him. He's a young man, right? But his jump from New Hope to Jedi is not as drastic as Anakin's, right? From Phantom Menace to Revenge of the Sith. And some people I found had a problem like making that leap from movie to movie. I didn't. I love all those movies. But I felt like the Clone Wars stuff just it fills it all in. And suddenly they understand why Anakin's like the way he is, right? How he was a badass during the Clone Wars. So it's like it just gives character development in a really great way that just benefits. It's like if there's expanded universe and that's expanded universe, that's what expanded universe should be. It supports and uplifts the canon movies, right? It doesn't deconstruct. It doesn't tear shit down. It doesn't give you stupid things. It just gives you here's great stories that say we support the main attraction, which is the saga of 6, right?
Right. We talked about that earlier with Dave Filoni basically backing this up. Dave Filoni himself, who is really what most fans consider, I think I can speak for a lot of fans, sort of the Padawan of George Lucas as far as learning the mythos of Star Wars. And, and again, I encourage everyone to go see that not interview. It was a roundtable discussion. He was a panel member, and he just goes on this 10-minute diatribe. I think that's the right word. And how awesome, why the prequels are so amazing and how they all fit together. Not all of them, not all 9, but all 6 films fit together. So I do encourage that. Trav, your thoughts? Absolute canon, do you agree?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I mean, I do think there's certainly value and something to be said about from the creator. 100%. In my mind, in my head canon, here's how I look at it. If you take away 2 movies, maybe 3, but really, you know, episodes 8 and 9, I'm pretty good, right? I loved Rogue One. You know, to me, that carried the message of George and everything else, and I consider that canon in my head. It's not from the creator, right? But it follows that theme. And even The Mandalorian. Mandalorian was great.
We're going to get to the Rogue One in a second, but yeah, keep going.
Mandalorian was great by Filoni. Again, you know, to me, hey, that's cool. That can be canon. You know, my thing is there's really just 2 very destructive things in the whole great Star Wars saga, and that was 8 and 9. If someone wanted to debate me about 7, you know, I'm not going to get in an argument over 7.
We're going to get in an argument, Trav.
But you know, the other ones, you know, at least in my head, I felt like, you know, Rogue One, Mandalorian, you know, even though they're from Disney, and I have problems with Disney with what they did with 8 and 9, big time. But at least they got those right. And so to me, I you know, in my head, I split it. I do look at from the creator, but my true headcanon, as well as I incorporate as true Star Wars that I believe in, extends beyond the creator a little bit into things like Rogue One and The Mandalorian.
Okay, well, we're going to get to that in a second. I did want to pop this up because we are about all point of views here on the Plastic Planet. We certainly don't discourage other people from having a point of view. I like this comment from Maverick 1701. This is fair. I love the sequel trilogy, so I can't agree. But like saying for Star Trek, only what was made when Roddenberry was alive is canon, and he's right. You know, Rick Berman, executive producer, he was sort of like the Dave Filoni to Gene Roddenberry back in the 90s with The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and he went on to do Enterprise as well. And I'm a big Star Trek fan, so I kind of get what he's saying there, though. But again, you know, Star Trek is a multi you know, platform television series, movies, etc. I guess Star Wars is too. But I mean, I kind of get that statement. But at the same time, I really have to stick by the fact that, you know, unlike Gene Roddenberry, George Lucas is still alive.
I want to say one thing on this, Knick-Knack, is
okay. Go ahead.
The important thing to note is you're right. Roddenberry didn't. There's a lot of things that absolutely have the feel of Star Trek and what it was about, right? Exploration, science, the human, you know, exploration too, right? And that's what a lot of the, you know, the original Star Trek, Next Generation, those things were explored. And I think that's the key to canon, is it's supporting, like I said before, like with the Clone Wars stuff. Even though that was directed, it was heavily overseen by Lucas, but it was directed by Filoni, right? He was overseeing day-to-day operations on that. It's supporting and uplifting of the creator's message and story. Right?
What you're speaking of is called internal consistency.
Yes, and it's absolutely imperative. And I think that's one thing that when you look at the handoff, it's exactly like saying all the J.J. Abrams Star Trek stuff. That's not Star Trek. It's so remotely. It's got a guy named Kirk and a guy named Bones and a guy named Spock, but that's pretty much it. Yeah. And it goes off the rails somewhere other direction. You know what? And you know what that is? That's expanded universe. Yeah. That's other people telling stories in the sandbox.
You're telling me
that's the key.
It's fan fiction. We're going to get to that in a second. But yeah, respectfully, you know, and we love Maverick 1701.
We love Mav. Don't worry about
it. We do. And all opinions are welcome here. And he did raise a good point, you know, that I had to wrestle with a little bit there. But I will say this. I felt like Rick Berman in Star Trek, when he took over as executive producer on The Next Generation and those subsequent shows, he kept the internal consistency intact, whereas J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson totally threw internal consistency out the window. We'll get to.
See, I think Maverick brings up a good point, that canon doesn't mean it has to be from the creator. Just like what you're saying, as long as it has that internal consistency.
Yeah, I still say it has to be from the creator to be absolute canon. Now we're going to get to more. Let's move on. So let me see if I can get this.
Next slide, please.
Next slide. Let's see if I can get this PowerPoint to work right. Okay, you guys seeing this now?
Yeah.
Let me come back. And okay, so what we have here is probably canon. These are things that are subjective, but are probably canon. And all of these you're going to note, again, this is my canon. Your canon can be different. This isn't a fight. This is just me. this is what I consider to be probably canon. And there's some things in here that I honestly think are kind of dumpster fires, because I was never a huge fan of the old EU. And this is old EU, and I couldn't get it all onto one screen. There's just a bunch of examples.
A lot of stuff, dude.
Yeah, there's a lot of examples here. This is, these are novels and comic books written over the course from 1993 when Timothy Zahn's Heir of the Empire came out, up until probably the purchase of Lucasfilm from Disney with the New Jedi Order and all that. But anyway, these are probably canon because what Lucasfilm actually had back under George with their expanded universe is that George didn't necessarily I don't think he went and read all these and then approved them, but he had a list of things and characters and such that his contracted authors couldn't touch. And so a lot of the stuff that came out, especially and I didn't love at the time, if I'm being intellectually honest about this debate, and excuse me, I'm beer buzzed right now, but I didn't love a lot of the post Return of the Jedi expanded universe stuff, if I'm being honest. But then, of course, Disney came along and said, "Hold my beer," and they made this stuff look like Shakespeare. But at the time, I wasn't in love with it. I read Heir to the Empire up here. If you guys can see me pointing at it, this novel, I read this novel in high school. I loved it. And the other novels I haven't read as much. I can't remember as much about. But I did read the entire Darth Bane comic series that I'm highlighting up here. If you guys can see that cursor moving over it, I don't know if you can. Yeah. But there's things in the EU, the old EU, that I loved, things that I could take, that I could leave. But I'd say it's probably canon because, again, George Lucas didn't sign off on it personally, but in a way he kind of did, because he told his story group. They did have a sort of a mishmash story group back in the day, which is far better than the one they have now, in my opinion. But they kind of had told what their creators were hands off, what was hands on, what characters they could work with. But even George Lucas, what makes this probably canon, but not necessarily canon, is even George Lucas back in the day, when we're talking about the Dark Empire series, went out of his way to say the Emperor's dead. He never came back at all. So in a way, this may not be canon. But to me, this is closer to canon than what we have now, because it was under George Lucas's umbrella company at the time, and he did have the right of way to say yes, no, maybe, whatever. He had a say in this. Thoughts, guys? Trav, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I love that George put up some guardrails here, saying, hey, you guys have some creative freedom as long as you're within these boundaries. So I agree. I agree with that.
Uncle Pat, your thoughts? Because we talked about the expanded universe back in the day a lot.
Mm-hmm. I think he put the guardrails on it, but I also think he knew where these stories were going to go. Right? I mean, they're comics, they're books. They're not going to remotely touch his pride and joy, his films. Yeah. Right? That's what he was all about. Yeah, he's a filmmaker. So I think he knew about it. He controlled it only because he always controlled his property to some extent. And I think that's really what they were. He was like, you go ahead and go play in the sandbox, kids. Just don't, don't bury the dog. Don't eat any cat turds that are in the sandbox.
Right.
He just could have set his rules and let the kids go play.
Right.
And I think that's what you got here with all these stories, because some of them are batshit stupid. But
I did.
Some of them are fun and camping.
This is the Anderson novel, and there were some good stories, and there was an anthology. It was a Star Wars Tales of the Bounty Hunters, and this one is the one where I read this book and I loved it up until a point. The story of IG-88, and the beginning, it starts out really cool. IG-88 is he builds all these other IG-88s, and they all go out and they all do all these bounties, and they there's one scene where this IG-88 assassin droid is literally in this this elitist spice miner's bedroom or something. I'm totally botching it, but and it's in the middle of the night, and the guy wakes up in his bed, and all he sees is IG-88's head doing a 360 with the red eyes, and then that's the last thing before he's shot. That was cool. But then it just totally went overboard with the whole IG-88's invaded Death Star 2 in Return of the Jedi. And he programmed his own brain into the Death Star. And that was totally fucking stupid. So I'm not going to sit here and say that the old EU was gold. It wasn't. But to me, it was still under Lucasfilm, which is under the creator. So it is still probably canon. Trav, did you say any thoughts on this?
Oh, man. I was just going to say, man, there was one book I read, and it was right after episode 2, and I loved it, right? Because the opening, it had it had Mace, just waking up at night regretting, and just internal, right, turmoil for not whopping off Dooku's head, right, when he had the chance there at the end of episode 2. And I thought it was brilliantly done, right, because it talked about, even as a Jedi, right, him questioning himself, because a lot of Jedi had to die and everything else, because he didn't take more immediate action on someone who he knew was bad. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know what? There's one book down here in the corner here, and I don't know if you guys can see this cursor going around it. Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader. It's down there in the corner. It's got Darth Vader on it. I read this book when my oldest son was just a little baby, and he was in the crib, and I was stuck at home with him. And I read this book, and this came out just after Revenge of the Sith. And it says on the top of the book, I didn't choose the book. I put this together, this whole collage here that you're seeing. And I put this all together, but it didn't. The modern version that says Legends slapped across the top with this, which sucks. But it says on top of here, this was the original version that came out that I own. It says the must-read sequel to Revenge of the Sith. This is my favorite expanded universe novel, and now it's considered non-canon by Disney. But this was so awesome. And if you guys get a chance to go back and read it because it really goes into detail about Darth Vader just following the events of Revenge of the Sith and how he's getting used to his suit and how much he thinks the Emperor fucked him over by making this suit suck ass. So it's painful for him to wear. It's painful for him to walk in. It's clunky. It's a piece of shit. But basically, the Emperor put him in it to make him more rageful and angry and to be in constant pain, which would connect him to the dark side even more. It's fucking great expanded universe stuff.
That's cool, yeah.
To me, this is canon. This book is canon. It is special to me. It's great. It has a very satisfying ending. I highly recommend anyone go read it. But let's move on to my next my next slide, which may be controversial. Let me see if I can do this right. I'm going to go back to PowerPoint. I'm going to tab down, and hopefully you guys are seeing this. Good enough to be canon, but probably not, though. And yes, I have some very beloved Disney Star Wars projects in here that people love, and I agree, they're great. But to me, if George Lucas didn't have direct hands in, I'm not so sure they're canon. It could be selective canon to where it like gets fuzzy because like we know like the original 6 films is like if I'm going to use a metaphor here, is like the 10 Commandments heading down to Moses on Mount Sinai or whatever, if I'm saying that right. Those are set in stone. This stuff is more like the stuff of legends that we don't know for sure is canon. It could be, but we don't know for sure because, just because, again, these are all mostly written, although I think George did have some George did visit the set of The Mandalorian, and Dave Filoni is awesome. We've talked about that. And Rogue One is by far one of my favorite Star Wars movies, and it's awesome. But again, I don't know if I can completely consider it canon because it wasn't written by George. So this is what my thinking is. And I also included the 7th season of Clone Wars, which I don't think you guys have watched it yet, which I wish you guys would because it's really good when you talk about it. But the last 4 episodes of the Clone Wars are really good. They do kind of go along alongside Revenge of the Sith fairly nicely. But again, so do some of the other novels that came out before it that we talked about earlier, like Labyrinth of Evil, that was written as a prequel novel to Revenge of the Sith. That's awesome. That goes right along right up to the events of Revenge of the Sith as well. And there's no mention of Ahsoka in that because Ahsoka didn't exist as a character yet. Thoughts on this, guys? What do you guys think? That I don't necessarily, while I like them, I don't necessarily consider them canon.
Yeah,
Trav, go ahead.
Yeah, I think this is where I disagree, man. I have a tough time seeing the distinction of how IG-88's brain in the Death Star is probable canon and a great movie like Rogue One is probably not. For me, it's just difficult to see that distinction. And so for me, man, if I look at if we go back to what we were saying at the beginning, right, was the essence of taking George's message and storytelling in, let's just say, Rogue One. 100%. I think it was there. I think they nailed it. So even though it wasn't from the creator, in my head at least, could be wrong, been wrong before, I think it's canon.
Uncle Pat, your thoughts?
Oh, I have some opinions here.
Let him loose, dude. Let him loose. It's okay.
Those ears will help you think.
And let him loose like proton torpedoes into the Death Star exhaust port. Let him loose.
I feel this is more like inspiring rage than anything else. So I would say none of this is canon. This isn't canon. This is fan fiction. This is expanded universe. And here's my reasoning why. None of it's necessary. None of it's important. If anything, the Clone Wars final season, I watched the first, I think, 5 episodes before I canceled Disney Plus. It's none of it's coming from the right place. And I think if you look at the older expanded universe stuff, which I still think is expanded universe, it's not, I wouldn't consider any of it canon. The only thing I really consider canon are the 6 movies in the Clone Wars series, the original 6 seasons of the Clone Wars. Kind of like Knick-Knack, you said.
So you're in total agreement with me on that one.
I am in total agreement with you on that one. And I'd say this, that this stuff here is all fan fiction. Do we need to see Rogue One? I mean, dude, I love Rogue One. I'm first one to say I own it. I love it. I love the characters. It's a great ride, but it's someone's love letter to Star Wars. We didn't need to see any of that shit. The Mandalorian, also loved it, minus Guffin. And I think they're going to botch the shit out of that show in season 2.
We hope not. We hope not. But okay.
I hope, no kidding, man.
Well, we all hope not, right?
Fingers crossed.
Again,
yeah, we've talked about
that
5 seasons in a row, so we'll leave it at that. But yes,
right. It's completely removed from anything. And this is, I actually, of all of the stuff that we've seen, I like the Mandalorian the best because it leaves continuity the fuck alone. It stays out of all that stuff, man. You can do whatever you want in that show because it's not touching Han, Luke, Leia, Chewie, right? It leaves them alone. And that in itself is perfect.
Yeah.
And then my biggest beef of all of these is that Clone Wars. And I was excited for the Clone Wars 7th season. I was excited because, we talked about it. Like, oh, it's coming back to what we all liked about Star Wars before Disney screwed the pooch. I don't think it is. I think it's fan service at best. I watched those first 4 episodes, and they were sort of.
You haven't seen the last 4 episodes yet.
I haven't seen the last.
In all fairness, do reserve that judgment. I watched
that first. I watched that first Ahsoka episode, and I was done.
Yeah,
I was like,
we're not doing this shit right. Yeah, we're not going to go into those. There was the prior 3 episodes to the final 4 with Ahsoka and the two sisters. Yeah. It was, I don't even want to get into it. It was really bad Clone Wars. I will grant you that. And I don't want to get into it. But it did feel very ham-fisted, very agenda-based. But we're not going to get into that. But the final 4 episodes are very good. And especially the last scene of the last episode is very good.
But I'll watch it once season 2 of Mandalorian comes out and I resubscribe to Disney Plus to watch that debacle. But I think that's the big thing is all this stuff, and including the stuff that you said, probably the sort of the middle ground canon. It's all just it's just stuff that can take place. The kids playing in the sandbox, and you go and play in the sandbox, and all this Disney stuff that's come after all of the Disney stuff, 7, 8, 9, all of this stuff, the stuff I like, the stuff I don't. It's all just kids playing in the sandbox. And I think that for me is always going to be the only thing I can hold on to is even if it's good and I love it, it's still not George Lucas. And it's still not, the saga was a story that he told. And I think all this other stuff, the best of it is just to stay away from that and play in the universe. And I think that is the strongest case that you could make to connecting to George Lucas's canon is by playing in the outs, away from the main characters like the Mandalorian did, and tell good stories that take place in the universe, but they're not connected. And then we can go and enjoy that, right? You don't have to. There's no bringing you to how you feel about how they feel about the original trilogy. It's just, it goes off. And Rogue One did it in a bit because it was characters we didn't know. They had a lifespan. They all died at the end.
Yeah.
It led some value to them as characters, and we could enjoy them. I felt the biggest pushes in that movie, if there were going to be any, were look, it's Tarkin, it's Leia, it's Vader. Like,
yeah,
they were cool moments, but at the same time, I was kind of like, all right, that's fan service. Let's move on. Let's get back to
Again, all these projects I have up here, I really liked, minus a lot, probably 80% of the Rebels series. I think maybe I'm on the minority on that one. I think that series had some really awesome moments, but I think overall, I really didn't enjoy watching the Imperial forces get treated like Keystone Cops every single episode.
Yeah, I already watched Masters of the Universe as a kid. I didn't need to know Skeletor.
Yeah, that's exactly what they do to the Empire. Again, when Tarkin shows up in Rebels, he's respected. They do justice to Darth Vader, I believe, in that series. So hats off in that sense. But it's like the Imperial forces by themselves. Every single episode, you wouldn't know that those are the same stormtroopers that stormed the Tantive 4 in the beginning of the original Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope and annihilate those rebels, because these guys are so inept. These stormtroopers are so inept, and that they're just a joke. And that's what bothers me a lot about Star Wars Rebels, is every episode, for the most part, until maybe the last season, the majority of the characters kind of get through that. They're getting wiped. Yeah. They get through that whole series unscathed. It feels like a 1980s cartoon. It really does in that sense, in the plotting sense. But yeah,
there's a couple interesting comments I want to just call out.
Okay, go ahead.
So first,
and my brother Chicken Fried Steaks in the house, and so is Baz. I wanted to give you guys shout outs.
Yes.
The chicken fried.
Mav left for the night, so good night, Mav. So Baz called out that he says, heard they're giving Luke a wife. She's a Jedi artifact collector, will add to Luke's condition in TLJ.
I don't know what medium that's coming from. As far as I'm concerned, Luke's wife, if he has any, is Mara Jade, whose stock has gone up dramatically for me.
Right. So that's an interesting statement. And then I think the other one I wanted to call out was, following Freddie, was he read somewhere that George is going to reboot Star Wars under his terms. I'm not sure how true that is. Now, wouldn't that be an interesting thing? If he redid something like that. I don't think he would.
That sounds like a Mark Zero. And you guys may not be familiar with Mark Zero. I think I'm saying his name right. But he's a Star Wars YouTuber, and he just throws out all this crazy shit. He does daily videos. Mark Hamill's back on board. Luke Skywalker will be redeemed. He just does these crazy videos, and he's got a dartboard behind him in all of his videos. That sounds like a Mark Zero kind of thing, but we'll see. All right, guys.
I dare to dream, but I have I dare to dream. I wish that was true, but man, oh man, I kind of doubt it.
Yeah. Oh, here's one more from Paul. Let me put this up here. Let's be honest. Prequel trilogy is the original, not needed story. Absolute canon. Starts and ends with OT. Yeah,
I told Paul to hush. I love you, Paul, but shh. No.
Well, he has a point. He has a point in that, if this wasn't like a big consumer world, do you need the prequel trilogy to appreciate the original trilogy? I don't think you do, but I was so thankful in my mid-20s to have Star Wars again, to have new movies that I didn't care. But his point is that you don't need the prequels to think the originals are great, and I see that.
It's true. It brings up an interesting point, though, that I was kind of thinking of earlier, and that was we talked about what this new Star Wars has done to us. The sequel trilogy has done to us is, ruining our childhoods, ruining our 40s. I think the biggest thing was, I remember because we had, I think all of us, right, had our kids when those prequel movies were, we started having kids when those prequel movies were coming out, more or less, right? I mean, some of us got later, Finn, my oldest boy was, a few years after Revenge of the Sith. But,
sure.
I remember, we had our kid, and then we started introducing him to Star Wars, and at least from my perspective, they kind of my oldest boy was like, he was into he loved the original trilogy, but he loved the prequel stuff, right? He loved Anakin, and I almost felt like at the time it was kind of like that was his trilogy, right? It was sort of the new generation's trilogy, and he gravitated towards that stuff. So when these new movies came out, the Disney movies, I remember going, taking, like I've told this story before on the Plastic Planet, right? My dad took me to Return of the Jedi, and that was the big thing. I mean, I saw the other movies, but it was the big thing. We waited in line, went around the building, right? And it was a huge event. And I remember when Episode 7, Force Awakens came out, I did the same thing with him. And we were jazzed. I was like, I wanted to share that experience with my son. And it blew back in my face so freaking hard that, I mean, seriously, like he was sort of, and he would go drift back and forth, like, oh, I kind of like it, I kind of don't. And then when we went to see, it was like, I remember telling him at the time they killed Han Solo, and I said, I'm like, you know what, Finn, it's going to be okay. You saw the end, you saw Luke, and then when we went to see The Last Jedi, it put a nail in the coffin, man. He doesn't care about Star Wars that much anymore.
Yeah, and my kids are
like
really...
it destroyed that. Not only did it hurt my love of the franchise a lot, it kind of destroyed the connection that my son and I have or had over this, because he just sort of like, oh.
Well, you guys are gonna love my final slide here tonight, then.
Yeah, let's see it.
Let me move on to this. Hopefully, I can do it right. After taking it down, let's put it back up. But so here's the last slide, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on this one, but yeah, not fucking canon. This is fan fiction bullshit that has as much relative weight to the overall story of Star Wars. And with all respect to Maverick 1701A, we love you, man.
I was just saying,
and you have a right to love whatever you love, and we love you having you here on the Plastic Planet. We're certainly not going to shit on you for your taste, but in my opinion, and this is my opinion only, these films are not canon. They didn't happen. They're fan fiction crap. J.J. Abrams had no artistic license to write a Star Wars film. Rian Johnson, who is deliberately trolling Star Wars fans, and I really truly believe that. I think Rian Johnson is a good film director when he's not making Star Wars films. I will say that. Knives Out is a good movie, but if you're gonna watch, but the man has no business making a franchise beloved film because he can't help himself. That he's gonna screw with characters in a way that aren't acceptable to fans, and we all agree that that's horse shit. So these are not fucking canon to me. They are maybe what it is, and I saw this is. I'm not going to take credit for this, but I saw a comment on another YouTube channel. I watch a ton of YouTube, guys, especially because I don't have any sports to watch, and I don't really want to watch cable television. Right. I watch a ton of YouTube, and I read a ton of YouTube comments. But on a comment, this was made in, I don't know who it was, I don't know, but this is not me. But someone said that what the sequel trilogy truly is it's the imagination of a downtrodden, oppressed teenage girl living on Jakku, feeling like she has a purpose in life, and this is her own story in her head. That's what the sequel trilogy is. It's fan fiction. It's Rey sitting in the AT-AT, imagining that she has a great life somewhere out in the galaxy, and she's hanging out with Luke Skywalker and Han Solo, and she's doing great things, and she takes down Emperor Palpatine again because Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader didn't do a good enough job killing him in the first place. This is Rey nobody living in her broken down AT-AT walker somewhere on the desert of Jakku, imagining her own greatness in her head. And that's all the sequel trilogy is. Thoughts, Trav?
Well, first off, I just wish you would tell us what you'd really think on your show every once in a while, And I do believe they are Star Destroyers on Jakku, just to get it technically right, Ryan, not AT-ATs, but...
Well, she lived in the AT-AT, dude. She lived in an AT-AT.
Oh, did she? Okay.
Yeah, she lived in an AT-AT, dude.
Well, obviously,
my bad.
There was a giant battle on Jakku according to The Force Awakens years ago, and that she basically scavenges the remains of the Star Destroyer's crash there.
That's right, and they're flying through the
She lives in the attic, makes her giant weird bread in there. Remember that? But anyway, she lives this pathetic life, marking the days she's been stuck on Naboo, imagining a better life, that she has a purpose in the galaxy because she's a nobody. That's what the sequel trilogy is.
Yep. So look, man, like I said from the beginning, man, 8 and 9 are just atrocious, right? And I agree. It doesn't kill our childhood, but they killed our childhood heroes. And to me, it really, and this is sad, right? To me, it became really knowledgeable in thinking about even the term of headcanon. And why do I even have to think about headcanon and have these talks with all these great folks like you guys and everyone on the chat channel? It's because of these movies, you know? And so that's how we got here. And it's just a shame. It's just a shame. You shouldn't be able to take iconic characters and, you know, take someone like Luke and just do a 180 on them like they did. I mean, it's terrible.
Yeah. You know what, though? And I will say this, and you know what? If we're being intellectually honest, outside of what, and again, this goes back to my argument in this whole slideshow thing, is that outside of what George Lucas's original vision is, there is no true canon, whether you're talking about the old EU or the old, the new sequel trilogy, is that they all kind of contradict each other. And so, again, guys, I'm beer buzzed. I had way too much to drink tonight. But again, they kind of contradict each other in my opinion. And to me, it's like there is no true canon, again, outside episode 1 through 6 and the first 6 episodes of Clone Wars. Uncle Pat, I know you got an opinion. Let's not keep it too long, because we need to finish this out here under 2 hours. But thoughts on these films?
Well, you want me to keep it short?
Yeah.
No, it's not fucking canon. There. Enough said. I'll keep it short for you.
Yeah,
right?
It's not canon. I agree. And I'm glad that Lucasfilm is inviting us not to recognize these films. That's the point of this whole thing. Back to that tweet that story group person wrote. I don't remember his name. And again, I wish I could have pulled that up. That was weird. I couldn't. It's almost like they put a block on it, because otherwise the internet's working great here. But yeah, it's just like, I'm glad that they give us the option now that we can just ignore these films completely. Again, I would like to think that the only real true Return of the Jedi content that is out there post Return of the Jedi is The Mandalorian. But again, I don't want to downplay what Timothy Zahn wrote back in the early 90s, because I read those books and they're actually, you know, that's like in the Timothy Zahn Heir to the Empire, that's the first appearance of Coruscant as a planet. That's the first time that planet showed up. And George Lucas borrowed from that. He took from the expanded universe what he liked. And that's what Coruscant in episode 1, which was, you know, put out 6 years after that novel. But, you know, in the opening part of that novel, Luke Skywalker is hanging out on Coruscant in the Imperial Center, the old former Imperial Center, you know, watching the sky traffic go by. And it's really cool. So I don't.
Well, I think the key thing, Ryan, when you look at all the other EU stuff and everything else, yeah, maybe some of it conflicts. But to me, it kind of conflicts on the edges of the whole saga and story, right? You get 8 and 9, boy, they ramrodded us right through the heart of the core characters and everything we knew. Palpatine coming back alive, Luke doing a complete 180. And it goes on and on and on, right? Yeah. That was the problem, is like, it's okay if there's little fringe things, you know, but when they take it as far as they did, it's like, man, that's what makes it tough.
I got to put up this quote from Baz one more time, because this is awesome. TLJ catered to Twilight-loving wine ants. Totally agree, dude. That's the Raylo crowd. And again, we're not trying to go fandom menace here on this channel, because the spirit of the Plastic Planet is, I truly, you know, when you look at my videos, I try to focus on the things I love. You know, if you guys haven't seen it yet, do go back and look at that Empire Strikes Back love letter I put out this week. I'm proud of it. It may have been a little self-indulgent on my part, because I'm a little, I bring it back to events in my own life and my own personal experiences and why Empire.
Well, you look sexy in it.
I did look sexy in it. That's true.
Yes.
But going back to like why I love The Empire Strikes Back so much and why it appealed to me so much growing up. But you know, and again, you don't get those in the new movies. At least I don't think so. But anyway, I love that quote from Baz. It does. It feels like the new trilogy. They're going after the wine mom crowd, and other YouTubers have explored this avenue with Disney, that they're trying to expand the fan base into like, you know, like basically the kind of women. And I don't mean to like make it sound misogynist here, but basically the kind of women that wouldn't date us in high school, but now all of a sudden think Star Wars is okay. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it's because
I don't want to sound like a fucking incel here or anything. I get, you know,
there's 100% truth to that statement, in the sense that all the shit that we used to get made fun of and it was not cool, and you kept that shit quiet in secret at your house, right? Because now it's popular, so the cool kids get to like it. You know what? Get the fuck out of my sandbox. I took abuse from assholes when I was a kid who would make fun of me for Dungeons and Dragons and collecting figures and all the stuff that I did, reading comic books, right? And now it's cool. And now all these people that I grew up with that want to come and, you know, oh, this is popular now, so we're going to come and hang out. That's totally the case. It drives me nuts. It's Big Bang Theory.
It is the Big Bang Theory, and I have liked that show. I liked like the first 5 seasons of that show. But you're right. The Big Bang Theory, and we could talk about this on another live stream. The Big Bang Theory did more hurt to geek culture because it made it mainstream.
Yes.
Now, you know, one of my favorite memories is you and I walking out of Revenge of the Sith in 2005. In May of 2005, we're walking out of Revenge of the Sith. And we both have on, at the time, our Revenge of the Sith t-shirts. And we're walking out of that matinee. We went to a matinee the next day after it released. We didn't go to the midnight showing. We went to the matinee. I had a brand new newborn at home. My oldest child was like 6 days old. And you and I went to the 9 a.m. showing of Revenge of the Sith, after the midnight showing. You and I walking out of that show going, oh my God, Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars. And we walk by this yuppie bar, this yuppie brew bar. And there's people sitting out on the patio mocking us. I swear to God, I bet those motherfuckers love the sequel trilogy.
Oh, you bet they did, dude. They would have
How funny.
Tickets for midnight showing. Cocksuckers.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. I bet those motherfuckers mocking us at the brew bar, and it was like a typical like wine mom, like a couple wine moms sitting out at the brewery, you know, waiting to go see, the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants in theaters that day or whatever. They're having some wine, waiting to go see their movie, mocking us coming out of Revenge of the Sith. They probably love Rey. Like, finally, there's someone in like geek pop culture that we can relate to.
Did you guys say anything to him?
No, of course not. I just ignored him.
We were
having such a great moment, and we were so excited, and we were just like in Star Wars euphoria. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Baz makes a good point here. Once things get too mainstream, I think Uncle Pat, you'll agree with this. It gets watered down, then dies.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I mean, we could talk about this another time, Knick-Knack, but the Marvel movies, all of this shit, the comic book movies in general, even the DC stuff, which I've enjoyed, same stuff, man. It took what we loved as kids growing up and just neutered the shit out of it.
Yeah.
I'll issue caution on the Marvel stuff. I'm just not interested in those characters, so I haven't seen Endgame yet. I saw Final Wars, but I haven't seen Endgame
I've seen it all, and dude, I loved that stuff when I was a kid, and I had Infinity War, and I had Infinity Gauntlet. I had all those stories in the comic form, the original form, and it's the same thing, man. You just see people coming in and it's not like we have some ownership here, because the stuff was always meant to be, enjoyed by anybody. And I think that was the beauty of it, right? I look at it like heavy metal music. You may not like heavy metal music, but it has always been the outsiders. It's the outsiders' music. It's the people that get picked on, the people that can't, have issues in real life. But it's the thing that gives them power and gives them self-importance and value. And I think that's what geek culture was. And now, as soon as it becomes mainstream, it takes away all of that acceptance. The people that are real dorks, geeks, nerds, losers that had that thing, and you take it away, and now it's the pretty popular fuckheads. I think that's the biggest thing, and it circles around here with the Disney stuff.
Yeah,
and I think
I agree.
I
think part of me, just because maybe I'm a masochist or something, but I think part of me loved loving the prequel so much because so many people didn't like it at the time.
Yeah, dude, it's empowering. It's almost like I love this thing, and everybody else can hate it, but I see this value. I see this love. I see this thing that I remember from being a kid and watching Star Wars. Right? I think that we all love those prequels because we went into it not as oh, I need to have the original trilogy regurgitated at my face. We went in like excited about the prospect of the man that created it giving us something new.
Yeah.
Right. And we reveled in that. Even though I know like there was commentary, and that was the beauty of it. We loved it, but we would talk for days about picking apart the movie and what we didn't like and the goofy shit we would come up with that, but again, it still wasn't popular.
Yeah.
Like the people that went and saw that movie or all the prequels, they weren't the cool kids. They weren't the wine moms.
No, they weren't there. They weren't there.
They were up.
I agree. Trav, you got any thoughts on this? Did we leave you on track?
I mean, my thoughts was, what's funny too, if I think back to the argument against the prequel, it was, okay, maybe there was some bad acting in there. Maybe the CG, was a little overdone and not quite up to par, right? In hindsight, I'll take any of those issues any freaking day compared to you're taking Luke and making him into a coward. You're bringing back the Palpatine who was dead 10 times over, and just going against our core. So, time kind of has a funny thing of putting perspective on different items, man. And that's one looking back, what we were talking about then was so minor, so funny.
Yeah, totally. All right, guys, well, let's switch gears real fast. Let's wrap this up. We're at the 2-hour mark, and I don't want these going too far over 2 hours. By the way, if you guys are here, we got 14 people. We've held steady between 14 and 17 people in the chat or in watching us all night. Again, that's a big
thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, especially for hanging out with us. I know it's late for you, all you brothers on the East Coast and wherever you guys are in the world. Just really appreciate you guys hanging out. And thank you again. I always try to thank everyone who's watching this on repeat later on. While I'm probably, sitting on the toilet passing a deuce, you guys are watching this on repeat or sleeping or whatever. Thank you guys so much for checking us out on repeat. Can't thank you guys enough for that. We love having you guys here. We really do. And you guys make the show, as always, especially you guys in the chat interacting. And even if your opinions are different, we love hearing from you. So yeah, exactly. But again, so thank you so much. But again, we wanted to kind of switch gears. I just want to put this up by Baz real fast. Back then I only liked AOTC. He's talking about Attack of the Clones and thought Hayden wasn't good enough to play Vader, but I liked episode 1 and 3. That's fair. Although I loved Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader, and I actually named my firstborn son, because he was born in 2005, Hayden. I shouldn't say that on the internet, but we spelled it a little differently than Hayden Christensen. But yeah, and my secondborn, who is 12 years old, his name is Lucas, and you guys can just guess who he is named after, which we will talk about right now. It is the 76th birthday of the creator, George Lucas, and I was going to put up a picture of him or something, and I forgot to put that in my queue here for share screens. But we all know what the man looks like. I love George Lucas. The man made our childhood. Happy 76th birthday. The man doesn't need to come back and waste his time with Disney. He's married. He's happily married. They have a new baby. Or not new baby. I think his child's a little older now. But again, the man doesn't need to come back and waste his time dealing with Disney, although I wish he would. But again, happy 76th birthday, George, and I hope you're having a great one. I'm talking to you, and you'll never hear this, but I love you, man. How about you guys? Pat, Uncle Pat, any awesome things to say about George Lucas? Because we love George Lucas here on the Plastic Planet, and we'll never say anything negative about the man. Go ahead, Uncle Pat.
No, I'd echo what you said, Knick-Knack. Just the imagination he brought, and what I always loved, I always like seeing as an artist, I always like seeing all the varying, artwork that art that he'd hire the artist to put into the movies, right? And he'd go in with his red marker and whoosh, I like this, I don't like that, like this. It just showed what kind of a creative visionary he was, that he knew what he wanted to see in his sort of, but he appreciated other artists and what they could bring to the table. And I think that's what I always loved about him was he didn't sit around and pretend like he was this grand visionary, this guy that had all the new ideas, right? He borrowed so many things from historical storytelling, right? I mean, and that's what made his story so great was he wasn't afraid to say, this is, you know, in a way it's all been done before. I want to bring the smartest and brightest people in and pick what I think fits my story and bring it together into this vision. And, you know, and he'd give credit where credit was due. Absolutely. Right. But that's just what I loved about the guy. He is so, in any of his movies, like Willow, you can say bad things about any of his other movies, but I always loved it because they just had this emotive creative feel where you could see that he wasn't just.
Hey, Uncle Pat, I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second. I want Trav to answer right after you. Keep going. Guys, I got to pee so bad. I'm drowning. So I'll be right back. So Pat, Trav on George Lucas, and I'll be right back.
All right. Well, I'll segue into Trav. I think I think I've said my piece since now. Knick-Knack's going to go take a piss.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man. So I'll just add one. Thank you, George, for everything. But he was ahead of his time, man. Look, he combined mythology with action, with love, with sci-fi, and did a brilliant job of bringing this all together into great storytelling. And it's amazing when you look at his characters, right? He created the best villain ever in Darth Vader. Some of the best heroes, man. You got Luke, you got Yoda, you got Obi-Wan, right? And then as well, some of the best, quote unquote, sidekicks or kind of quote good guys with a bad side in Han. I mean, it's just amazing the breadth and the depth of the worlds he created. He was ahead of his time, man. And so, and had a big impact, right? With the movies and stories he created, you know, on all of our childhood. So, thank you. You know, it's awesome. Thank you, George.
Oh yeah, we can't. I don't think we could thank him enough for everything he's given us. And you know, I think even defense of the, you know, with everybody, you know, people got on him about the prequels, you know, and again, he was just sort of following this great vision, this love of storytelling and expanding the characters he created, right? And I always think it's a place of love and excitement and wanting to share. And, you know, for him to get such a bad rap on it, I mean, it kind of.
Goofy Disney hats. Do you guys ever like when you hold your pee so long that it comes out really slow? That's what I had that problem. I apologize so much. I drank this. I like to keep hydrated during these things, and it really kind of blows up in my face.
Knick-Knack, look in the comments. Paul had a good one for you that you need to highlight in the show.
Knick-Knack's Bathroom Planet.
Yes.
I love Paul, dude. Paul's one of my favorites. Oh, he's awesome.
I don't know if you noticed, but Soundwave is back for a little bit.
Okay.
He's got some time before surgery, so.
Okay, good. Yeah. Good. Well, yeah, that's awesome.
Well, we finished everything up
about George Lucas yet?
I did. I already commented.
Okay, cool.
You have to watch the tape. It's some of the best comments ever.
Yeah.
Rewind the tape.
Yeah. I got this in Disneyland. This hat's awesome, by the way. But anyway, and you know, that's like just to touch on the, you know, I don't want to be like a Disney basher because in the traditional sense, I think that Walt Disney, like we owe so much to Walt Disney, the man himself and his visions. And you go to Disneyland, and my favorite thing at Disneyland is to go to the old Fantasyland area where it's like Snow White, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, Dumbo. All those films are just iconic, and I love them so much. And my wife loves them immensely. And so her love, you know, when your wife loves something so much, you kind of can't help but love it too, because you love your wife and you love what she loves. So I love Disney in like the traditional iconic sense, but as a company, I'm not sad to see them get knocked down a peg or two, outside of all the poor cast members that have lost jobs and been furloughed over the last month or two.
Dude, at the end of the day, right? It's never the people that are making these stupid ass decisions that suffer. It's always everybody underneath them.
Yeah,
That's right.
America, and unfortunately,
Agreed.
that's what Disney is. It's a corporation, and has fallen very far from the creative powerhouse that it was. It's still producing some great entertainment, right? But it's not, go back 10, 15 years. It's a different animal now. And you can thank the Marvel movies for that on part. Thanks,
Yeah.
Marvel.
Fallen Princess, I have a funny story about meeting George Lucas I'd like to share one day with you guys.
That would be
Absolutely, man. We'd love to hear that.
Love to hear that, man.
Yeah, I've had friends. I I don't try to talk about my real life job too much, but I do work in the entertainment industry, and I do know people who have met George Lucas, and I met Mark Hamill, but I personally only heard nice things. Who knows? When you, it's never good to meet your hero someday. Maybe, I don't know if it's a bad story or a good story, but I think I would hate to catch George Lucas on a bad day. He does feel a little crotchety, but he's real, man. He's a real guy, and that's what I respect about him. And I didn't really talk about George Lucas. To me, George Lucas was the poet of my childhood, for better terms. And I just, you can't see it in my videos. I don't think I need to say too much about it. I absolutely freaking love the man very, very much.
I just hope you never meet him, Knick-Knack. I hope you never meet him.
Well, I hope, I would love to be one of those like bootlickers that come up and say, George, I really love what you did. Thank you so much for making my childhood. And yes, he'd probably be like, it'd be awkward.
Dude, every hero I've ever met has let me down so epically that.
All right, Uncle Pat, I think it's time maybe we'll tell the story again. But we got 15 people watching, so dude, please tell your Peter Mayhew, aka Chewbacca story. Everyone needs to hear the Peter Mayhew Chewbacca story. Baz, don't go away, buddy. I know you want to say goodnight. I know it's after midnight on the East Coast up there. I think you're.
I got a good story for you, Baz.
Yeah. Okay. So please tell your Chewbacca Peter Mayhew meeting story. Go ahead, Uncle Pat. The floor.
All right. So, basically, I was. This was at a time when I was living in Texas by myself. I had the opportunity to go in Austin to like a comic book sci-fi convention kind of thing, right? And so there was a number of people there that you could go get autographs from. So I met Jeremy Bulloch, aka Boba Fett. Guy was freaking awesome, and I got his autograph on a card, and he was telling me stories about other movies he did. Super awesome, dude. The original, the guy, Uncle Owen, I can't remember his name. He was there. He was so old and decrepit. I passed him over because I just felt bad. And then I later on I saw Aaron Gray, which was Wilma Deering from Buck Rogers.
Oh, Aaron Gray is so hot. We saw Aaron Gray at Comic-Con a few years ago. Remember that?
In 2006, I think it was.
Yeah, she was so hot then, man.
Yeah, dude. But anyway, so it's like there was great people there, right? And I walked up to Peter Mayhew was there. I'm like, it's Chewie. I freaking loved Chewie as a kid. Walked up, hey, how you doing? And he's like, I gave him, so he had like different prices. If you brought your item, it was $10. If you purchased a still from him, it was $20. So I had an item. I had a carded Chewie, which is hanging on the wall right over here. And I said, yeah, I've got this, and his wife's there working with him. And he's like, well, who do I make it out to? He was kind of distant. He didn't even look at me. Who do I make it out to? I said, Patrick. And he's like, how do you spell it? And I want to preface this. The guy before was named John, and he asked how you spell it. I guess there's two spellings.
Multiple spellings for John, in all fairness.
Okay. But Patrick, There's only one spelling for Patrick. There's one. Okay.
Maybe still, K at the end,
I'm still letting it go. There's no spelling without K at the end, buddy.
Okay. I don't know.
Unless you're Pedrique, maybe the game.
I mean, in all fairness, though, dude, if you're handing him your item and he misspelled your name,
okay,
right? You figure this guy's doing this all day long. He probably just like every person. I'm just asking how I spell the name because you mess up once, right? And you ruin a fan because you just ruined their property.
In fairness, Trav, you can't really read his writing in the first place. So
can you show us? Is it easy to get right now? Can you show us the autograph?
Yeah.
Yeah. So show us the Peter Mayhew at art. And again, we're not speaking ill of the past. I know Peter Mayhew passed a few years ago. Rest in peace.
He did.
You know, he was Chewbacca, and he was part of our favorite movies. But sometimes it's just not good to meet your heroes, as we're talking about.
Well, no, and I think the big thing that really got me here, I'll show you the autograph in a minute, was that, so our transaction's done. He's written a very generic signature. And, you know, Peter Mayhew Jeremy Bulloch gave me this whole like, oh, yeah, he's like, and his autograph, which I should also show you, which is also amazing. And you compare the two, and maybe this is why I'm a big Boba Fett fan still to this day. He gives it to me very dismissively, and I give his wife, who's handing treasures, $20, and she just is like, okay. I'm like, no, I had, this was my item, so you need to give me $10 back. And they argued with me for $10, and I was like, I ultimately got my $10, but that was the most disappointing experience. That was truly from my childhood.
So you're saying that you're disappointed because Chewbacca tried to grift you out of $10.
He did. Dude, and let's be honest here. It was also, maybe it was Jeremy Bulloch's fault for being so fucking awesome, and he didn't try to grift me out of $10. They were all doing the same thing, right? And he gave me a story, and he was just like, oh, so it's so nice to meet you. Thanks for coming.
With you. He was personal with you.
He had a personality.
Whereas Chewie just wanted to grift you out of $10.
Okay, and so there's my Peter Mayhew signature. Okay. It's not even very legible, but so I still have this day.
You have the Jeremy Bulloch one you can show us?
Yes, and read this one. To Patrick, be cool. Jeremy Bulloch. Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
So
that's pretty cool.
Awesome, I love this. This is like
that's
one of my
cool.
favorite things. And
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, so thanks a lot. I mean, it was such a disappointment. So just don't meet your heroes, dude, because they're people, and you know, he could have been having a bad day. He could have been feeling bad. You know, I don't know if he was in his marriage for the entire time. Maybe that was his first, second, third wife. I don't know. So
that dirty Wookiee.
That dirty Wookiee.
He tried to pull the wool over your eyes.
Well, I mean, Falling Freddy had a better experience, right? So I know that they're all people just like us. But I think that's just why. I just don't meet them, because half the time they let you down, because they have their own shit going on,
right?
And it's hard to separate that for your fans.
That's true. That's true. Again, I haven't had the pleasure of meeting a lot of my heroes. I'm not an avid autograph seeker. I have some autographs here from sports people I follow, Denver Broncos and things like that, but it's nothing to talk about on this channel. But again, it's not my thing per se. Trav, do you have any autographs, man?
A couple of sports, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We won't get into those here, but yeah, cool, man. Cool. All right, guys, we're at the 2 hour mark. We're 2 hours and 17 minutes. Still 12 people here watching this. So thank you guys again so much. And I always forget to say this, and I need to say this. If you're watching, please like the video, because that helps the algorithm, all that. So please like the video. I appreciate it. Or don't like it. Shit, I don't care. Although my self-confidence, appreciate it more if you like it, I'll admit. But yeah, please like the video. Guys, did you guys watch anything this week real fast? Any movie, quarantine book report so you want to give? Trav, anything?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Knives Out. We did watch Knives Out, and I agree. Dude, Knives Out was awesome, man. That was pretty creative.
Glad you liked it. Uncle Pat, anything? We'll keep it quick, so we're trying to wrap this up.
Honestly, I hate to say it, I haven't really watched. There's been nothing on TV. I've been watching a lot of Adventure Time episodes on DVD, so that's about all I got.
Any second impressions on that show? Has it changed better?
Oh, I still love it so much. It's just quirky and fun. Oh, but I already talked about Midnight Gospel, didn't I?
I think you did
last time.
Yeah, you might have.
Yeah, but I'll say this: I watched the Midnight Gospel to the end. There's 5 or 6 episodes, and at first, the first couple, when I first watched it, when I told you guys about it, I was kind of like, it's weird, it's wonky, it's fun. It's really, I got to the last episode, and a little personal thing. He interviews, so basically the guy that does the story, he interviews these characters for his space cast. It's like a podcast. They're real people, and they talk about really deep subjects. And he interviews his mom, one of the creators that does the voice for the main character. He interviews his mom, who's dying of terminal cancer. And they just talk about stuff, right? And death. And it's really emotional. And I mean, I lost my mom a number of years ago in 2014. And it just resonated so well. And I didn't get that series until I watched that last episode. It's these deep conversations over like this ridiculous cartoon imagery. I highly recommend that show, but you gotta give it more than the first 1 or 2 episodes to really get it. But
did you say where that's streaming at? Is it Prime or Netflix?
It's Netflix.
Netflix. Okay, yeah. Cool. So check that out. I wanted to point out down under Danny says I watched your back catalog. He's talking about the Plastic Planet.
The Plastic Planet, baby.
I love you, buddy. I love you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you. And say he watched The Wild with Harrison Ford. I've been meaning to watch that. It looks like it could be fun. Just good escapism.
Yeah, we actually bought it. My family watched it, but I didn't yet. But that's on my list.
Yeah.
Call of the Wild, right? It's a remake of Call of the Wild.
I'm not sure, but it's The Wild.
It is.
Looks good. Looks good. I watched the Clone Wars season 7. We'll talk about that when you guys get caught up. Get caught up, dudes. A lot to talk about there. I watched that. I really enjoyed it. I won't talk about it now, but the last 4 episodes are pretty good. Not my favorite Star Wars. A lot of people are saying it's like the best Star Wars since whatever. I disagree with that, but it's good. It's solid. The last 30 seconds of it is pretty epic. As people who have seen it would.
How does it compare, Knick-Knack? I want to ask this question then. How does it compare to that episode in season 6 of the Clone Wars where we watch Palpatine, Darth Sidious fight Maul and Savage?
That's from season 5. Isn't that from season 5?
That's from season 6.
Okay, well, anyway, that's great. No, it's not as good as that.
Okay.
Not as good as that.
Then if you want to give me your Disney Plus login, I'll watch it. Otherwise, you're gonna.
Yeah, you can have it, dude. I'll give it to you. Yeah. Whatever. I never use it. But anyway, I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was good. I'll give Dave Filoni wrote the last, I don't know if he wrote all the season, but I know he did write the last 4 episodes. And it's good. It's good.
Nice.
It's very Ahsoka centric, and I like Ahsoka. Ahsoka's grown on me over the years. Ahsoka was a character I always thought was Scrappy Doo incarnate back in 2008. I thought she was the new Scrappy Doo. Scrappy from Scooby Doo, the puppy, that whole trope. But Ahsoka actually had character development, and she does kind of grow in this season, and she's really good in it. My only complaint with Ahsoka from David Filoni's standpoint is the dude can't kill her off. I mean, I think that Ahsoka to be a good character at some point needed to die, and she's never been killed off. That's another conversation for another time. But I'll
watch it. I'll be ready for next time.
Yeah, that's my only complaint there. But yeah, really good. I also rewatched Jurassic Park, the original. I kind of texted you this, Pat, and I don't want to get too much into it, but for a Steven Spielberg film, and I love the original. I read the original Michael Crichton Jurassic Park novel like 25 years ago, and it's a great novel. And maybe that's why I'm kind of hazy on the film, because maybe I'm comparing it to the book, which you should never do. They need to be standalone entities. But the screenplay for a Steven Spielberg film, especially a lot of the lines in that movie, is kind of cringy to watch it 25 years later or whatever it is. What are we, 27 years later? Anyway, I don't know. I love the dinosaur sequences in that film to this day. The T-Rex scene still holds up when the T-Rex busts through the paddock and basically destroys those Ford Explorers. Epic. But a lot of the dialogue in that movie,
See, I would only disagree with you in the sense that at my house we watch those movies like all the damn time. Since my oldest is, he's obsessed with Jurassic Park and dinosaurs and all that stuff, and we watch those movies ad nauseum. The only one that ever bothers me is The Lost World. I hate that movie to the depths of my soul, and I want it to die in fire.
Why?
Well, we'll just one. There's 2 key scenes that really grind my gears. the first one is, I think it's Julianne. Is it Julianne Lewis?
Julianne Moore.
Julianne Moore. Thank you. Where she's out there, field. I'm a field, photographer, and I'm watching these dinosaurs, and put that cigarette out, and they can smell. We don't want to interfere with these dinosaurs. And the first goddamn thing she does when we see her is goes up and tries to touch a baby dinosaur. And then all hell breaks loose.
The Stegosaurus.
Yes, the baby Stegosaurus, right?
Yeah.
So, so so there's that. That drives me nuts. And then there's,
it's the gymnastics scene, isn't it?
The gymnastics scene, yes, where she does the jumps and spins.
Ian Malcolm's daughter.
Even though that raptor probably outweighed her by like 3-1. Right. I don't care how fast she was going, she wasn't going to knock it out the window. It'd be like hitting a brick wall.
Right. That she was like near having a panic attack the entire film, and all of a sudden,
and all of a sudden she's a superhero doing gymnastics.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, all that aside, those are ass hattery scenes. I agree. Yes. It's the best scene in that movie, and the best scene almost in any Jurassic Park movie was in that movie.
Really?
And you see the one guy, and I forget his name, but he's got the winch hooked up, and he's trying to pull that RV up over the coastal cliff. And the RV's spinning out, and he's riding in it, and you see the trees kind of move, and then the two T-Rexes, the buck and the female, come out of the fucking jungle, and they rip the fucking top off, and they split the dude in half. Awesome!
That was cool.
My wife isn't watching, so I can say this. I watched that movie with an ex-girlfriend, and I fucking hit her in the middle of it. Like, in the arm. It wasn't like abusive, but it was like, oh, that was awesome! And she's like, what the hell? It was like I had this nerdgasm moment back in the theater in 1997. I was maybe a junior in college. So awesome. I love that scene.
Was Lost World the one with the crappie scene, too, at the very beginning? That was a sweet scene.
Oh, with the little girl on the beach?
Yes.
Yeah, with the crappies, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot to love with Lost World. Although I agree there's some cringy moments, but what about the part 2? It's so cheesy, but it's cool. When the kid is in San Diego, he's in his bedroom, and he's got this, like, he lives in this, his parents are obviously really well-to-do, and he's like got a fish tank in his room, and he looks up and he sees fucking T-Rex in his window with the dog chain in its mouth, and he calls to his parents, and his mom like yells at the dad, I told you not to put the aquarium in the room, it'll give him nightmares. So cool.
Dude, that whole scene's cringeworthy.
I loved it, though. I loved it.
Oh my god! But at any rate, I think that's why. But if we could, we could probably have a conversation.
We could do a whole Jurassic Park live stream.
And maybe we should at some point.
You could, yeah.
We should. Daniel says Niedrix, and that was played by Seinfeld's Newman.
Yes,
I can't remember.
Newman, yes.
In the original Jurassic Park, not Lost World. We're going back to the original. Niedrix, his death scene was heaps better in the book. It was. There's actually a YouTube video where someone did an illustration, actually read from the Crichton novel of Dennis Nedry's death in the original Jurassic Park from the book, and it was so good. Because what the Jurassic Park, I'm a big dinosaur fan, as you guys know, but the Jurassic Park book what the movie leaves out, maybe it's like a juvenile, that's my defense of it in Steven Spielberg's case, but what the book tells you is Dilophosaurus is the dinosaur, which is the spitter, which actually wasn't really a spitter, but that thing was 8 feet tall. It wasn't like this little like dog like they show in the film. That thing was 8 feet tall. In my defense is in the film, maybe it's a juvenile, but it was 8 feet tall, and in the book it's 8 feet tall, and it's what it does to Dennis Nedry in the Jeep is just gross.
There's evisceration and like
like he sees the intestines falling out,
everything coming out. Yeah,
it's just nasty, and it's like
a Braveheart.
Yeah, and it describes Dennis Nedry going into shock from a first-person perspective in the novel, the original Crichton novel.
Yes.
I recommend the Crichton novel a lot. There's also a really cool scene in it where Alan Grant and the kids are out in the park, and they get on a raft, and they're rafting out into the middle of the lake in the park, and they see, because T-Rex has been stalking them through the park since it got out of its paddock the night before. This is the day after. This is the part in the movie where they're climbing the fence and where the herd of the whatever run by them. The Gallimimus or whatever run by him, the T-Rex eats them. It's in that same part of the movie, but it's in the book. And they're basically being stalked by T-Rex through the park. And they're rafting across the lake. and they see T-Rex on the bank. And Timmy, the little boy in the book, who's like a dinosaur like enthusiast, like he thinks back to those 1970s books we read as a kid. Well, we're fine. T-Rex can't swim. We'll be fine. And they left this. This is in the book, not in the movie. Then T-Rex wades out in the water and starts swimming after him. And Crichton describes it so beautifully in the novel, like his giant tail was like a rudder going across the lake, coming after him. It's so well done. If you haven't, if you haven't read the original Jurassic Park, man, I highly recommend it.
Dude, that seemed to always remind me. Growing up, I had an iguana, Iggy, and it was a big land iguana, right? And we had a pond at my house, and sure enough, man, you put that iguana in the pond, and it's like he just puts his legs back, and that tail was just a big rudder, man. It was so smooth. You would never thought he'd be smooth in the water.
And that's how Crichton describes T-Rex swimming across this lake in the novel. And it's like they're all shocked because they're thinking back to all the dogma that Timmy's thinking back to the dogma in the books growing up. So cool. I know your boy Uncle Pat is a big JP fan. So huge fan. Well, very cool. Well, guys, we're at the 2:29 mark. Let's wrap this up. Any final thoughts there, Trav?
Final thought. You know what? If everyone hasn't, go check out your last video. I like how you talked about how Luke had a big impact on your life for your 40th anniversary edition video there. It was well done. I encourage anyone to watch it because
thank you.
Luke had a big impact on all of our lives, right? And talking about the struggles and everything, especially during this time, is very warranted.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. Paul with some final thoughts there. 99 guys, thanks for the nerd talk. That's what we're here for, brother. We're here for nerd talk. Uncle Pat, any final thoughts?
Only that I'm at like 5% battery on my iPad now.
So we'll finish up here quickly.
Final thoughts. No, maybe just obviously I love sitting here talking this stuff with you guys, and love that we've got this great crowd of dudes that come in and check us out and listen to us bullshit about stupid things while we're drinking beer. And I love this. This is great camaraderie.
It is. And I want to say, guys, we never drop below 10 viewers at any given point. So so pats on the back, and thank you so much for everyone watching us. You guys are what makes the show. We say that all the time, but please do thumbs up the video. I keep forgetting to say that in these. It really does help with the algorithm. I hate
share, and subscribe.
Yeah, like, share, and subscribe. That algorithm's a bitch, man. I haven't figured that YouTube algorithm out yet, but we'll see. But anyway, So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. I know on the East Coast of the United States, it's after 1 a.m. If you're on the East Coast, God bless you. Thank you. Love you. And everyone watching on repeat, God bless you. Love you. Thanks for joining us. That's it, guys. So anyway, I'll wrap things up here. Thanks for joining us here on the Plastic Planet. Like Uncle Pat said, please like, share, comment. Please do subscribe. And guys, you know what? Things are kind of shitty right now, but do continue to, keep up that love for that plastic shit. And if you guys have the means, continue collecting, man. I do encourage that. Go online, find something you love, make yourself happy. Have something to look forward to in the mail. It makes all the difference in the world. I sure did this week with this Hot Toys Stormtrooper that I'll be showing off on the Plastic Planet at a later time. So anyway, all right, guys, later. Love you. Bye.